Good evening. Hailing frequencies are open. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Last Excelsior here with the StreamPunks, our Star Trek Adventures 2nd Edition actual play. Sorry about getting started a little late tonight. We had a bit of a tech issue. Everything is working out now fine. Of course, now that I've said that, the stream will, of course, crash and burn. But if that does happen, just remember to blame it on both Jake and Sam for good measure. So before we kick things off, does anybody have any announcements that they'd like to get out of the way before we begin tonight's game?
It was only my fault. It wasn't Jake's at all.
I just heard Jake's.
I have an announcement.
Yes.
April 15th, it is the premiere of phase 1 of Noirville. We're starting with Bad Meets Evil. Please go feel free to check out our coffee. We are dropping behind the scenes content as we speak, including character art that is being done for all 3 shows. That is Agents of Lovely, StreamPunks Presents, and Bad Meets Evil. All 3 have different art styles from various international artists all over the place, and it has been just a treat to see the work that they're coming out with. I can't wait for you guys to see all this. We're doing comic book covers for each season. It's gonna be a blast.
Sweet. Thank you, Noir. That's awesome. Anybody else have anything that they would like to announce tonight? Yes, Caitlin.
As I've said the past couple weeks, I'm putting all of my GeoGuessr streams over on YouTube, so you should check those out. I put one up that we did late last week where we are trying to get up to the next rank, and we did, and we made it. We had a bunch of really, really fun games. It's actually a very fun VOD, epic highs and lows of GeoGuessr. So if you want to give me a follow, give me some likes on those videos, I would really appreciate it. You should check it out. They're very, very fun.
Awesome. All right, thank you. Anybody else have anything they'd like to kick off before we jump into tonight's game?
Yeah. Again, this is more of an announcement, but I made an announcement on my social on Blue Sky. But coming soon is Sacred Machinations, mecha actual play podcast that I'm one of the player and the producer of. We've got a very cool cast. We're releasing character arts and the cast announcement soon. Even though, and to be entirely honest, we haven't been very secretive about who the cast is. Quite honestly, there was a very funny screenshot we took. And I was like, I know we haven't officially announced the cast, but I'm just going to post it because this is funny. So you can check out my socials to find out when that's officially coming out. But we've been sneaking a little previews of character art and stuff like that. And we'll be continuing to do that over the next couple of weeks. Also, I'm in a podcast called Forgotten Paths, and we recorded very recently the finale of it. It's still coming out. The episode is still coming out, but we recorded the finale of it, and it's very emotional. So if you want to get in on that train, definitely check out Forgotten Paths and all podcast services. But yeah, that's it.
All right. Anything else before we kick this off?
Yes, typically, Noirville is performed back-to-back here at the StreamPunks. That is, we have Monday Night Noirville, which we will have on the last Monday of the month next week. But every so often, by weird quirk of the calendar, the last Tuesday is a week before the last Monday, putting us in the horns of a dilemma. Do we keep the back-to-back, or do we keep the last Monday, last Tuesday thing? We have decided previous, and we are continuing this month to decide that we're keeping the back-to-back part, not the last Tuesday. Is the last Tuesday of the month tomorrow? Yes. Will there be an episode of Big B and Dash for StreamPunks Coffee subscribers, companion tier, and up? No. Will there be an episode of Big B and Dash next week on April 1st, i.e. April Fools, for StreamPunks Coffee subscribers, companion tier, and up? Yes, that is 7 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time next week, April 1st. Don't hop into Chronicles chat tomorrow expecting an episode. It will be next week.
Okay. Hope you all wrote that down. There will be a
There will be a quit.
Beat you. Right. That's what happens. All right. Without any further ado, since we're running a little behind, let's just go ahead and jump right into tonight's episode of The Last Excelsior. Welcome back, everybody. Let's go ahead and jump into the game. As we all remember from last week's episode, you guys had made some pretty big strides on uncovering some more details about the strange anti-chronoton variants that have been the source of mystery since the Pride first left space dock during a recommission. You guys have been trying to track down the source of these strange particles, which has caused things like ghost ships to appear, and is even hinted at the possibility of some kind of rogue ship from not in its time period wandering around out there in the cosmos. No sign, just stolen power generators that are long since out of date, and an entire Klingon warship that appears to be currently stuck in this sort of permacloak state and has effectively been removed from the timeline and is in risk of blinking out of existence. You guys have all been trying to use all of the powers of science and tech and investigative work at your disposal to try to uncover what is going on here and what the source of all of this is. To add even further complications, there is, of course, now evidence that there is, in fact, time shenanigans happening, as you guys have done everything from having visions of events that may or may not have happened and that might have altered possible time events, as well as uncovering a sentient AI sent from the future named Prism, which is currently on the persons of one Klingon colonel who is, again, possibly about to blink out of existence if a solution cannot be found soon. Lots happening. After turning in a report, on top of everything else that's been going on with you all, turning in a report, Starfleet has now, 2 rear admirals have now contacted the USS Pride and given the thumbs up to make the investigation of what is going on here your top priority. Right now, across Starfleet, as you all know, Admiral Picard is currently organizing a historically huge effort of relocating Romulan citizens to get them out of the blast zone of the Hobus star, which is currently, they're now projecting, going to explode years earlier than the original projections were showing. This has become one of the greatest undertakings ever recorded. Starfleet is in the process of not only trying to double their manufacturing rates in order to build enough ships to relocate people to escape the blast zone, but the governments of the Klingon Empire and the Romulan Empire and the Federation are all coming together to try to make this happen. Because of that, the USS Pride has been one of many ships in the reserve fleet that has been kind of filling in the gaps and doing the menial work that needs to be done while the other major starships are doing what they can. That is to underline the seriousness of this investigation, as you are being pulled off of some of those tasks to uncover what's going on. This is largely due to the fact that one of your crew members, Sharon, went to the holodeck to have a meditation section and got zapped. Shot at point blank range from a vision from the future, supposedly. The mystery deepens. When we last left off, you had used an aux point to activate one of the NPCs, Brag Pavbend, who is an incredibly obnoxious Tellarite reporter from the United Federation's news service, who was brought on board the USS Pride as a condition for the USS Pride to be serving and leaving space dock as part of a huge negotiation. They have lots of backstory there. He has, for the most part, kind of just been out of everybody's way for the past couple of weeks, not doing too much except for some puff pieces on the morale of the ship and so forth. Hasn't been that much of a thorn in the side since his initial piece trying to tear the Pride down publicly. Of course, that was before he snuck on board a shuttlecraft and got himself involved in this entire mess, getting beamed on board the Colonel's ship and becoming aware of everything that's going on. This has turned out to be a good thing, though. You managed to overcome the complication I threw at you. You saved his life, got him back to sickbay, and now, being able to use an aux point, you have activated him. He was able to use his abilities that he had on hand to contact some of his previous connections that he, as a journalist, has, reaching out to somebody who might have some ideas of where you might find some of these outdated particle generators, these energy generators, and who might be looking for some. We're starting today's episode off with the journalist himself, the Tellurite, standing in front of all of you in the conference room on the USS Pride. And he has just finished letting everybody know that he has managed to get in contact with his connection over on Drosana Station. Now, quick backstory, real quick, for the crew. Drosana Station used to be a Federation starbase back in Kirk's day. It is an old starbase that was going to be decommissioned, but instead was purchased by the Ferengi Alliance and is now functioning as something of a den of thieves, quote unquote neutral territory, but is under the purview of the Ferengi Alliance and run by a Ferengi. But it is also, it's Mos Eisley in space. It's kind of a place where everyone understands that it is neutral territory. The governments of the Federation and the Klingon Empire, who are the most relevant, since Drosana Station could be located between those two territories, near the what would have been the old neutral zones, understand that it is neutral territory and that it falls into the purview of the Ferengi Alliance, and so it's respected. But many Starfleet intelligence officers and Klingon intelligence are understanding that the things that go on in Drosana Station are worth keeping an eye on. The resulting is that you've got a pretty duplicitous Wild West station that is overflowing with latinum. And of course, that is the name that gets dropped, Drosana Station. As Bragpath Ben tells you that he has connections, and the one that he values the most, an information broker, a Breen by the name of Vel, has assured him that he is willing to negotiate despite his urge to have him vaporized. And Bragg is laying out his case to you right now. I think if you guys are willing to give this a shot, I bet you I could talk to Vel and find out more and see if there's anyone out there that's buying up all of these power generators. He seems to have an idea of somebody who may have possibly run a few of these shipments. But before you say anything else, Captain, let me just go ahead and pipe in here. Drosana Station. I know you are all pretty well trained and you're used to seeing some, well, what you've seen as Starfleet officers. The point that I'm trying to get to is that you come flying in there in a Federation starship and everyone's going to go to ground. You go beaming down there in Federation uniforms, everybody's going to go to ground. No one's going to talk to you, and no one's going to have anything to do with what we're dealing with. It'll blow my chances of talking to Vel. I'm not saying you don't go, but the kick in the door approach is not the best way when visiting Drosana. That's just my advice, but
well, I suppose we'd have to think of another tactic other than kicking the door down. I would say opening it and walking through it might be more suitable. Replicator, and he's going to replicate street clothes. You think something like this would stand out, Mr. Ben?
Tellurite says, I think you look better in purple, but yeah, that's all right.
Well,
Hadn't realized you'd moved to the fashion beat, Ben.
He says, hey, listen, I'm a journalist. I've got to be somebody of culture.
They just give him a nice up and down. How is the fit on Brock, by the way?
I mean, aside from the fact that he's actually still wearing the clothes he was wearing when he was on board and took his trip to the medical bay, but he was still wearing the clothes he was wearing on board. Brock actually does dress quite well for himself. He dresses very professional journalist. It would be the equivalent of the necktie and jacket kind of dress. In his case, though, it's what looks like a very handsome fit of folded, like multiple folds over a tunic that's long sleeve, deep green colors, and almost you can see sort of the cultural amalgam of Ferengi and Andorian needlework in some of the shoulders, where you see a lot of like gold piping like looped around and creating a more of a broad look. Also, being that he is considered, I would say, well, for lack of a better way of saying it, thick for a Tellarite. The clothes sit quite well on him and complement him very well. He looks pretty good. If there's one thing that I will say, that when Noir created this NPC, the presence rating is quite. He's got decent stats for.
Sure, cake with a whole lot of cake.
Yep.
I think Jared's gonna go, and you do have a point. If the Pride shows up, they will go on an immediate lockdown. We need the element of surprise. We need something that Starfleet doesn't do. Something like fighters. I think it's a lot easier to disguise some fighters rather than an entire starship. And Starfleet isn't known for small crafts. I think, once again, the fleet might come in handy here.
Oh, Santos is gonna hate this. Thank you, Captain. I'll get on it right away.
Frog nods and says, it's very possible that most of the people at Drosana Station have never seen a Peregrine fighter before anyway. So they won't even,
All the better.
they may not even identify it as a Federation craft when they first see it, so long as the transponders and such are. Anyway, you know what you're doing.
Well, I suppose now the only matter is figuring out who we're putting on the away team and partnering up with a pilot.
Can I make a request?
I would love to hear it.
I want to be on their ship. And he points directly at Cadence.
Cadence?
Or theirs, and points over at Tavine.
I do not fly small craft.
That is correct. She does not fly small craft.
Okay. Whatever that's all about.
Everything in me not to try and push you to fly a small craft right now. just out of petty, still upset at y'all.
You totally can do that. I could
You're
not.
Captain.
I'm
Captain.
gonna do it above the table. Player check-in.
Oh my god, yeah, it's
Can
really
you
funny.
can you just say what you're intending to do so I can hear it without your mouth over your face, so I'm sure I processed the audio correctly?
To show his passive aggressiveness and still being
Mhm.
upset with the two of you,
Mhm.
he's going to assign Tavine on this mission as one of the pilots that's taking a covert, taking somebody covertly to this mission.
Whew, okay, all right. We're declaring war on the ship. Understood.
Well, I think you two have so much experience on away missions already. I would hate to break up the team.
Well, then feel free to keep the team together. Happy to have Tavine as a passenger on my ship, Captain.
No, you'll be taking Brog. I'll be flying with Tavine.
As you wish, Captain.
Still okay?
With the acknowledgement that war is declared, like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, if we're cool with the call, yeah, great, fine by me. Like, woo.
Ugh.
I'll see if I can
Cadence,
locate
you
a
can-
suitable kitty ship.
Cadence, you'll be able to find a pilot that can take Taeyon here as well.
Oh, certainly.
Wonderful.
We have many qualified pilots, fantastically qualified pilots, small craft specialists, in fact.
I'm certain. Please get those assignments drawn up for me. We'll begin plotting course. I'll let our helmsman at the bridge know that we'll be getting ready to make way.
Quick request, Captain. Pavin leans forward. The Pride's going to leave space dock, but I still haven't gotten a chance to put her through some of her paces. So, if I may, let's not push her past warp 6, at least for the time being.
Sounds good. That should give Cadence all the time that they need to have everything prepared. All right, everyone, you're dismissed.
Everyone gets up and leaves. Bragg hesitates for a moment, and then he walks out and mutters something under his breath as anybody who is walking near him just goes, how does anything get done in this ship? As he just kind of wanders out. As you hear like an echo of that old curmudgeon-y shit-talking self coming back.
Second warp core powered by spite.
I'm with Tavine, I think, and just kind of not looking at Tavine, almost as if worried that the captain might be watching them leave. But we'll say just loud enough for Tavine to hear, small craft? You?
Evidently.
Good luck.
I won't need it, but I appreciate it. She winks at you, and we'll head out.
Raleigh, by the way, walks past all of you and uncharacteristically has not said a word. Just looks like they're studying a data pad as they walk past everybody.
Did they look any more well rested than when I saw them yesterday? When they were ordered to sleep.
They do. They look more well rested, but as some of us know, you can rest up as much as possible, but there's only so much you can do before your eyes start getting pissed off at how often you were staring directly into screens all the time. Even in this futuristic age, there is a limit on how much you can do.
Every 20 minutes, look at something farther than 20 feet away for at least 20 seconds.
Raleigh seems to be, though, showing the obvious signs of that sort of study fatigue. Does not look unhappy at all. Looks like they are in their happy place. In fact, as they're walking past, they don't seem. They are. It's no secret right now to any of the bridge crew and senior staff that Raleigh is very aware that they are in the process of some groundbreaking research, and is in the process of unraveling something that could be huge. And they are plugged in. So as you all exit the staff room, they step onto the main bridge and a beeline for their station. And there is nobody seated in their chair. And they approach the station and say, "Thank you, Ensign." And they wait like somebody was there. And then they go and sit down in the chair and continue reading and transfer what's on their data pad to their science station and begin to work.
At least they're polite even on autopilot. You know?
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, no problem. Yeah. It's a Sandman PC. So
I think it's auto science, not autopilot. Different bridge positions.
Fair enough.
You got the characters mixed up there. No problem.
Yeah. The seats are close. Yeah.
What would you all like to do? You can, if you wish, go ahead and initiate and start getting ready to leave space dock, heading out.
That's what Jared's up to. He's getting ready to give all the commands involved with removing the ship from space dock. Plotting course.
We'll do this just to keep it clean and straightforward. You receive clearance from Starbase 16. That repairs done. You are good to leave space dock. There's a message from Starbase 16 from Admiral Crom, who basically just wishes you luck and is really, him and Rollin are very interested to find out what the results of your encounters at Drosana Station are. Crom also does say, yeah, just being an admiral here, Captain, I just had to remind you that you're going into neutral territory and you're all representatives of the United Federation. I know you don't need to be reminded of that, but because of the unusual nature of this, just, maybe a light touch. But if you've got to start swinging, I'll get behind you.
Yeah, from the sounds of this place, a right hook might be equivalent to a hello. I can assure you it will stop at that. No need for phasers.
Yeah, possibly. Just Klingons also like to hang out at Drosana Station. So you'll at least have some allies, the Federation, around you. Worst case scenario.
I thought you were saying that to inform me that an uppercut might be needed as well.
Oh, no. I mean, if it was a different time, maybe.
No, I've got my best on this. We've got another interesting use for our peregrine fleet, so I can't wait to give you this report.
He nods. Rollin will be happy to hear that. You just keep proving him right. It's going to make all the other admirals that kind of stood up against him look dumb.
Well, I can't say out loud that that's a benefit of the job, but thank you for wishing us luck. We'll keep it safe and we'll represent the Federation to the best of our abilities.
He nods, and before he turns off the screen, he just says, "I'll say it." It goes, Starbase 16. You see Hata looks back at you from her station at operations and just has a small smirk and then turns back towards the screen. Do me a favor. Just real quick, this is to generate, purely to generate momentum. Difficulty 0, make me a helm check as you guys are piloting out of space dock.
Yay!
Am I making that, or is that gonna be our pilot? Because I suck
That's
at
your
this.
helm. Yeah.
No, I'm helm. Don't even sweat it, Captain. That's what you got me for.
That's what's up.
Everyone takes their stations. There is more. You receive notification from Space Dock that all moorings have been cleared, confirming that all your moorings have been cleared and that you are cleared to leave Space Dock. Go ahead and make your roll, difficulty 0.
Right. If we're generating momentum, could I take that close-knit crew momentum to buy an extra die and just top up? All right.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Very clever.
All right. Let's see here.
Close-knit crew and backup plans have been the bane of my existence this last weekend.
Works even better when a lot of people take close-knit crew. We could all be close-knit or close crochet, whatever you want.
I'm more of a crochet kind of guy.
I am too.
Love a needlework. My focus is Excelsior expert helm operations, I assume apply here.
Yes.
That is 4 successes.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Get yourself started up with 4 momentum.
Engaging aft thrusters, Captain.
All right.
The
Of course.
Departure angle on view screen. Moving away from space dock, and we are free and clear to navigate. At your word, Captain.
Gain a bonus momentum for that, Caitlin.
Yay!
And swing. We're off.
Here we go.
With that, the USS Pride, the last in service Excelsior class starship, pulling away from Starbase 16, course plotted. She jumps to warp 6, as per request of your chief engineer. Travel time to Drosana station is roughly a day and a half. At warp 6. Thankfully, Starbase 16 is not that far from Drosana station. So, unless there is any scenes you all want to do between now and then, we can cut to the arrival of the USS Pride at Drosana.
I assume we're going to be stopping outside of system because we're going to fly the Griffin.
That's my guess too.
Yeah.
You come in the system.
Yep.
Yeah, probably not too
we're
far
just
outside.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say not too far outside because warp 1 to 2 and warp 9 are so wildly different.
Yes, they are.
velocities.
One will get you there in like
you don't
20
want
minutes.
the warp
and-
9 distance.
Yeah, one
Going
gets you there in like 20 minutes, and the other one gets you there in about a year.
I mean, if only.
I figured that we would park just outside of the station sensor range, far enough where they can't see us, close enough where if shit hits the fan, we're not waiting a week for the rescue.
That's going to be all Hata, I'm guessing.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
I mean, you wouldn't need that if you had fully qualified pilots on every ship that you're sending in, but that's okay.
Can you account for what happens to us while we're on the station?
Well, in terms of getting away. Why need the pride?
account for us
Griffin
when we're on
Squadron,
the
you've been
station?
talking up so much. I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear you. Captain,
Oh,
you were
I was
snarking?
saying, can you account for what's going to happen to us while we're on the station?
That one's Taehyun's job. But if we need the pride to help us out while we're on the station, then stars help us all.
You and I are going to continue to butt heads until we resolve this, aren't we?
I have no idea what you're talking about, Captain. I'm in the midst of making the modifications you've ordered to our ship right now.
Very good.
I would like, at this point,
Mm-hmm.
Eric, just to cut to the to a ship that is going to be for Tavine, where they are making edits. The particulars I will specify at a later time. But if you asked if there was anything we were doing on the way,
Mhm.
naturally, Cadence is paying it forward, shall we say, to
Right.
Chief Santos. We can take that as understood that we are ingrungeonating our squadron, or if you feel the need.
Yeah.
I'm not
Down
particular.
on
I don't
main-
have anything I need to do.
Deck 21, main cargo bay. You guys are currently going over some of the details. By the way, gathered down here, considering the nature of the mission, and because it was requested that he fulfill this role when available, Sultani is down here as well, and helping manage as everybody is currently going over maintenance on the minor alterations that are being made to the Griffin wing. And you're not wrong, Cadence. Not wrong at all. Santos is deeply annoyed as he has brought up, at least very passive aggressively on 2 separate occasions, that these refined, updated prototype peregrines were not designed for this kind of nonsense. They should be doing rescue operations. However, he never says this to anybody directly. It's mostly to his tools, as he is currently working on some of the impulse engines. So
Yeah, you tell that screwdriver, Santos.
he slumps his shoulders and he looks back at you and he says, I spend so much time making sure that these babies fly right. And now
They fly beautifully.
they do fly beautifully.
Yeah.
I make them fly beautifully.
You
You fly them. But now I've got to make this look like it's sloppy work. Like, I've got to make this look like this is a ship that doesn't get maintenance very often. And that's basically asking me to walk into the room and draw a smiley face using a marker on the Mona Lisa. And I've got a problem with this, but whatever, I follow orders. I'm just a knuckle dragger. It's fine. It goes back.
I don't know. I hear it's harder to do a painterly brushwork than a direct photo study.
Sultani
Easier to make things look pristine than calculatedly messy.
Sultani comes to stand next to you, Cadence, and chimes in and just says, better be careful, Santos. They're going to be able to outwit you when putting a positive spin on this, wasting your breath. Santos goes, I know. It's why we hate each other.
Yeah, wow.
Despising.
That and your sparkling personality.
He mutters something.
Oh, what was that? I'm so sorry.
Nothing, sir. Everything's fine here, sir.
All right. Let me know if you need more for the color palette for the grunge on the wings.
He mutters something again. This time there's a clench in his jaw as he continues to work it. Sultani glances over to you and says, are any of the other members of the Griffin Wing going with you? Or is this mostly just going to be bridge crew? How many people are you guys going to squeeze in?
A few of them.
All right. Well, let me know if I can do anything. I just want to be of use.
Understood.
And he takes a step back. As he steps away, Marceau approaches you, looking after Sultani, and just goes, it's weird. He's just kind of like this phantom that drifts around, doesn't seem to know what he's doing.
Oh, that's plenty of us, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you can start prepping our flight plans, we're going to put you in one of these. We're going to put Tavine in one of these. We're going to put me in one of these. We might need some more. I haven't gotten the full away team roster from Bridge.
She says, it's not going to be a problem, but I wanted to ask you what you want to do about the probes.
What about them?
Peaches is pretty advanced tech. Do you want him to be attached to the bottom of this mission? We've all got our own worker bees and our own probes attached to our ships. I don't know if we wanted to maybe have them sit this one out. What do you think?
Pull them all out but Peaches. You ever hear of a honeypot?
I mean, I know the phrase, but
Okay, then you get the idea. If someone does decide that they want to make a smart move, I want to know exactly where they're making it. And I want to meet the sucker.
okay. Just, don't lose him. Lots of theft on the station, I'm just saying. She shrugs.
Yep, that was the idea.
As she steps away, you just hear over his shoulder. Santos just goes, being paranoid, it's fine. He just can handle himself. They can take care of it.
It's possible they're going to try to lift him, but wouldn't it be nice to bust a theft ring while we're out there?
It's not going to work. Santos smirks. There's one thing I've learned is now that Peaches has got a bit of a personality on him, anybody that tries to steal Peaches will likely get transporter tagged outside the station. Not literally, of course. I don't think Peach is a murdering robot. Just,
Well, we all want to see the full potential from everyone in our crew, which hopefully does not include any sort of murdering robot.
All right.
And I'll just give him a little, very, very nice container of a tub of dirt.
You bring Santos a tub of dirt?
Yeah, to grunge it up.
He looks at
I'm helping.
Takes it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I go back to working on the one that Tavine will be on.
All right. Unless anybody else has any other things they'd like to do.
I don't know if we were full of scene, but I do approach the captain at some point and say, Captain, I think it might be a good idea to bring at least some members of the security team with us down there in case things go sideways.
Do you have any recommendations?
Yes, I know a few who I think are itching to be back in the field, so I can pick them out.
Well, let's see if we can't give them a cure for the itch. I'll leave it to you to find the appropriate members for this away team mission. No one with the itchy trigger finger, of course.
Trust me, I've made sure with some discipline that no one does on our team.
Good. You may want to take a moment to look at the clothing trends of the station. I've been conducting some research myself to make sure that I've put together an outfit that is wholly appropriate for the environment. You might want to do the same.
I'll definitely do the same. I walked the security team members as well through that as well. I think I might ask Cadence for some advice.
May the prophets be with you. Okay. I do want to check with you before we do commit to this. Are you certain that you're feeling up to this with everything that you've experienced? I would not hold it against you if you wanted to sit this one out and have someone go in your stead.
I appreciate the worry, Captain, but I assure you if I wasn't up for this, I'd let you know. Being anything less than 100% would be very detrimental to a mission, so that'd be the last thing I want to do.
More than that, I'm sure the doctor would let me know, but it's more than just a physical check-in that I'm asking. You haven't seen your Jim Hadar Phantom again lately, have you?
In all honesty, I think that was the last I'd be seeing of that specific one, at the very least. Even it seemed surprised by the dagger I shoved in its chest.
Good on you. All right. Rally up your team. Let me know who they are. I'll put them on the manifest. Sending everything back to Starfleet before we head off.
Will do. And Above table. I don't know if we actually do have this. Do we have like lists of? Because I know some viewers made characters, right? Do you have a list of people
security
within the security
officers?
team? Yeah,
I
security
mean,
officers.
security officers. I mean, they are considered aux crew, but security officers are basically the gold shirts of the group. So they all have their. We don't have like any notable NPCs, except of course Lieutenant Zarya, who is very much. Bonnie built Zarya so that if she had to be an away team officer, that she could kill something with her bare hands. Because it seems like no matter what, with the exception of Lark Sage, every character that Bonnie has made has secretly been able to kill things with her bare hands.
There was nothing secret about it.
Just like
Not even a little bit. I think it was maybe the thing we knew the most about that character sheet.
this time she wore it on her sleeve, but yeah, it's her past characters have secretly just been able to absolutely blast things into oblivion. Most notably her doctor. But yeah.
In that case, Zarya would be one of the people
Okay.
I speak to.
Also, we just for numbers wise, we can only not all the. Am I remembering correctly that not all of the Griffin Wing can take a passenger?
They
I
can all
thought-
take one passenger.
They can all
all
take
take
one
single
passenger.
passenger.
Okay.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
function as rescue craft. So in emergency situation, but they're not necessarily transports, but they can take a single passenger in case of emergency, like rescue, basically.
That's why I was a little flexible with Merso with how many pilots we're going
Numbers,
to
yeah.
be bringing.
Right.
Cool. Okay, so right now we have 3 ships and 3
Right,
passengers.
right
gonna
now we are
expand.
at capacity. Anything further in terms of security personnel
We'll need another
involves
pilot.
expanding the number of
Got it.
pilots because our current passengers are Brog, Captain, Taeon. So then Zarya would require a 4th
pilot.
Griffin and so on.
Cool. I just wanted to walk that through my head.
Yep, good enough.
Yeah, I think just Zarya then.
Okay.
Knowing the
Zarya
logic
seems
of
to
it.
be. Zarya is very, very serious about this, and just nods to you, and starts putting together a small duffel bag of things that she wants to bring.
Oh, and the captain said to make sure that you read up on the fashion of the station. We're going to be going in with our uniforms.
Okay. When you approach Zarya and let her know, the lieutenant nods you and says, "Good, yes. This will be a good opportunity." She moves over to her wall in the quarters, and you see her reach up to 2 cross blades that she has for the Ushan. She takes one of them off the wall and just places it down and starts putting together some civilian clothes, fingerless gloves. Starts putting together. Looks like she goes into full infiltrator mode. You guys have the assembled way team and everything you need. It doesn't need to be any more than that, unless there's anything else. In which case, the USS Pride, a day later, leaving warp, arrives just at long range from the system, about a 6-hour flight on Griffin Wing from where you are located to the station. Because being outside of long distance sensor range of a space station is not easy. So almost a full sector away. You guys come out of warp. About 20 minutes later, Griffin Wing departs with everybody on board. When you all start coming into view of Drosana Station, it's a thing to see. Drosana does indeed resemble an ancient Federation starbase. It kind of looks like a couple of stacked dinner plates, like saucers in space. And each of them has these branching, looks like tubes that go off to the side, forming a very retro style looking space station. Each of those arms that extend outward from the station, there are 4 of them, almost like a compass, northeast, southwest. And at the end of each of those are smaller versions of the grand center saucer section. And then, of course, there is a large center, like conish tower in the middle of it. You see ships of all types hovering around the station, at station keeping, and a few that have docked. Most of them are civilian craft. You do spot a couple of ships that look like they might be of note. There's at least 2 or 3 Nausicaan ships you can see. Lots of civilian ships, as I've said. There's, of course, a couple of Ferengi shuttlecrafts, not unusual to see that, but none of the major players that you can tell that are currently docked at the station. Through the intercoms, you do get access granted to which docking bay that you can land in, and are directed to landing platform 2. Yeah, what's up?
If we are in a position such that we are landing, then ships are flying, correct?
Then the ships are flying?
Like this is the Peregrines flying in, yeah?
Y'all are in the fighters approaching the station.
Then now, look, if I can just a little bit of the takeoff for Tavine and the captain, because they did work so very hard on it.
I would like to hear.
The typical user interface, very LCARS driven, is still identical, albeit aesthetically redesigned. Crayola, some might call it. And along with it, a recording which, by the background noise, clearly Cadence made while Santos was in the middle of throwing these things together, and in just their brightest, you're gonna get like a "Welcome to Griffin Squadron Guest Pilot Protocol. This ship has been specifically calibrated for certified pilots who are not part of Griffin Squadron and were not individually chosen by Admiral Rollins to fly these highly specialized fighters. Fortunately, the flight control software has been specialized to comply with the captain's request. Fly safe, big birds!" And we're going to have a little kindergarten music as the play out. It's going to feel real smooth compared to your first time round this ship. But with a clearly visible, if you need to fly like a pilot, there is one button that says for the second best pilot in Starfleet that will reactivate all of the standard settings.
Before she does that, she does not fully turn over her shoulder, but just like enough towards the captain. "This is your fault," and then we'll tap the reset button to put the regular
glockenspiel plays
before. Yep.
The UI does not change. The settings will.
I think Kieran says in response, I don't think this has anything to do with me. This seems like the kind of prank that siblings play on each other all the time.
And where would I not be if not for this assignment, I wonder? And we head out of the bay.
All right.
Thank you all. I appreciate your indulgence.
Yeah, I'm so glad.
You got to troll, but you gotta. It's the little things in life you treasure.
Obey the captain. Excuse you.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
All right. With that, indeed, you are directed to land on what they say is platform 2, where you see a multi-decked hangar bay, where you see lots of shuttles coming and going. A few of them do look completely empty. You see some of the larger shuttles moving in and out of the dock. It's an easy maneuvering as you all pilot into the same bay, each of the Peregrines touching down. As soon as you manage to touch down, you see emerging from what looks like the hangar bay doors, just as the fields raise back up behind you all, you see what looks like this strange-looking hovering ball that has all of these, looks like a mishmash of tech, like wiring and antenna sticking out of it, but it looks like this sort of glossy ball that becomes increasingly scuffed as you reach the center on both sides, top and bottom. It has a black sheen to it as it hovers into the room, and it looks like it's kind of slanted a little bit. But you also notice that it seems to have some kind of projectors all over the sides of it, but it looks quite analog and old. It's some kind of weird tech that you've not seen before. As you're all stepping off of the Peregrine, you see it flicker to life, and there is a hologram that appears in front of all of you. Hologram of a Ferengi. Welcome to Drosana Station. Docking fees are 3 slips of latinum. If you fail to pay, this entire shuttle bay will be evacuated into space. I'm waiting.
Can I spend 1 momentum to have brought a stipend of latinum, knowing that this is a Ferengi base and we would probably need it?
Yes.
We're just gonna go.
That's specifically one of the functions of momentum. Oh, good thing I did this.
Yep.
You go ahead and burn that momentum. You pull out a couple of slips of latinum. The latinum, you see the Ferengi hologram reaches out and takes them and promptly inserts them into the top of its projector and says, "Thank you for doing business for Drosana Station. Remember, if you find yourself in a position that you are being slowly or quickly murdered on Drosana Station is not liable, and your family will be billed for cleanup fees. Thank you, and enjoy your stay." And the ball turns and
we are going to be charged latinum for everything. Just prepare for that.
Penn speaks up and says, if we're going to find Vel, he's going to be in the main bar area is probably the best way to find him. And by main bar, I mean it's the social hub of the entire station. The entire deck is essentially a pleasure deck of decadence and drinking and gambling.
They don't call it decadence. I'm disappointed with the whole station already.
He shrugs. There's too many languages, and they can't account for the word deck and pleasure and gambling and all that. They just name it boring things.
I've got to know what everybody's outfit looks like.
Yeah, go ahead and describe yourself.
I'm so glad you asked. I was about to.
Oh, please do.
Okay, I'll go first.
You initiated it. Yeah, you
Jaren is wearing a shirt with mesh sleeves. It's a black crop top with the mesh sleeves, and then he's wearing a long black leather coat and black cargo pants with like a belt that has his phaser and everything on it.
Okay.
But he scuffed up his phaser, so it looks like he stole it from somebody in the Federation.
It looks like it's stolen or something. Like, yeah. Okay. Who's next? Anybody?
I'll go next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm fully winging this because I didn't think about it. I think Taeon is wearing, I think, very earthly wear, I guess is the best way to put it. Very human fashion. I think like ripped jeans with like kind of almost like flared almost like flared ripped jeans, a very simple white t-shirt with like, I think just just in basic font across the chest. I think he just says the word t-shirt on the t-shirt itself in basic font.
Like oddly localized merch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over the t-shirt they have like very floral, I think like probably like red and white. Probably even has like, I think the red and white is actually like spider lilies, like patterning the entirety of the unbuttoned floral shirt. Very like Hawaiian shirt.
Yes.
A white t-shirt look, with the simple like black trainers. Underneath, like kind of almost slightly hidden. It's pretty easy to see, but slightly hidden is their phaser on their hip, but their kind of floral shirt does cover it just a bit. With their walking cane in hand.
Nice. Okay.
Sister mine.
Sure. I think Tavina's wearing something like a la like the old Star Trek where Spock, I think it's the Mob World episode where he's got like this like cloak on almost.
Mhm.
Like like trying to look human, even though he's still wearing something that looks very Vulcan. But it's like I think she's got like a something similar to that, where it's like a cloak that maybe only goes like just past her thighs. That's got like a hood, and then just like plain pants, plain shoes. But it's all in kind of like earth and gem tones, I think, instead of the all black that he wears there.
Okay.
And if I were a hotshot pilot going into a seedy cantina and were not somehow visually and dialectic with Han Solo, I think I would just be a disappointment as a, not just a pilot, but a person. That said, within this world where we trek and do not go to war with the stars, what I think Taeon and Jaron, based on context in particular, would notice is that this was not really a part of the fashion briefing. In fact, this looks like some closet cosplay. In fact, this looks like some Maquis closet cosplay. Like maybe they've done it. They have these clothes around for some reason or another.
I will say that your Andorian security officer who has joined you all on this, Zarya looks very similar to the first contact costumes that were worn when the Enterprise beamed down to sort of blend in to the late 23rd century, late 22nd century. Or is it 21st? I don't remember, but you get the idea. It has kind of like almost threaded look and wraps around their neck, that sort of thing. Looks like they are kind of geared up to resemble somebody who roughs it quite often. Doesn't look quite like they are of somebody of means, we'll put it that way. Whereas on that note, Pend, however, looks like he's dressed to the nines. He's wearing his best possible outfit. He looks affluent as hell. The Tellarite is dressed up and has these almost like holographic golden like mesh across the front of his chest, and long sleeve black both pants and shirts that culminate into the suede black boots that he is wearing. And he has a cane with a small like golden top that looks like it is judging from anybody who gazes at it, if you spend it long enough, you know that Pend is not using it as an assisted device. It is in fact a common technique that he uses to record people and to monitor in old school techniques of trying to get data and information. Pend just says, all right, I'll lead us up there, and try not to look too formal. And for the love of every god that every culture believes in, he turns on all of you and says, do not say sir or refer to each other by rank.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We all do it at the same time. I love this.
It's out of our system.
All right.
Unit
Really
cohesion.
quickly,
Yeah.
we brought Marceau, and who did you pick as the other extra pilots so we could have Zarya?
Let's see. Good question. We want to just call that.
Moranth is available. You want to bring her?
Sure. Let's bring Moranth.
And then are they coming in with us, or are they manning ships?
They're watching cars.
Marceau's going to recommend that they stick with the ships.
Just wanted to establish. Thank you.
Because you never know who's going to come by and be like, wait a minute, are those Federation fighters? And how much would those be worth? So, yeah.
Yeah, they're the getaway drivers.
Got it. Cool.
All right, y'all are led into the station. Drosana Station, you're already getting a feel for this place. First of all, the lighting here is very similar to the lighting on board a Klingon vessel, except for it doesn't look like it's an aesthetic choice so much as this aging station is constantly being maintained and is using materials that are barely passable. The dimly lit corridors function as sort of the city streets of this station. At least that's what it would look like. As y'all are walking down the main concourse, It's wide enough that you can see a couple of hover trams moving by with cargo, probably contraband, who knows what's on them. You see all of the species that you are constantly watching pass through the galaxy, moving about you, all keeping to themselves. You also see some really disturbing sights of people who are destitute and being and who are in the throngs of probably being led around by criminal empires. The place just looks seedy as hell. The smells that you can all that you're all getting in here that saturate your nose are indicating that the environmental controls of this station are probably fluctuating and have been for some time. There's indications just based on the moisture content of the interior of this main concourse that there's probably multiple species of mold growing somewhere and has been feeding that air to most of the part of the station. For you, Cadence, it's one of those moments where you are blessedly liberated from the unfortunate sensory that is smell in this particular moment. However, that the thickness and the moisture in the air, it's not enough that you can taste necessarily, but it's enough that you can identify of like, oh yeah, no, I don't want to breathe this in for too long. Leading into the main concourse, you eventually come to junction points where you see the first signs of some little stores and storefronts. It's disheartening that one of the very first storefronts you see looks like a weapons dealer. It does have a big disclaimer on the front of this shop indicating that it is for hunting only. And inside, you see all kinds of weapons on the walls, ranging from different eras. They don't look like they're used for hunting. As you continue moving through, though, you see more and more indications of like small business that has some questionable dealings and questionable merchandise just outside of the typical jurisdiction of what the Federation or Klingon Empire would find acceptable. What were you going to ask, Sam?
About that weapons and the rest of said merchandise, of the stuff that looks newer. What is its provenance? I.e., where are we getting our stolen weapons? Sorry, legally acquired weapons these days? Are the newer ones mostly Federation, mostly Orion, mostly what's the mixture of the stuff produced in the past couple years versus old Dominion War era stuff that's surely also here?
Yes, that's actually permeating most of it.
Yeah,
it looks like
but
a
the
lot
newer
of
stuff. Where it from?
I mean, there was a huge war 7 years ago, and it was galaxy spanning. So you're seeing a lot of discarded weapons. There are Dominion rifles on the wall. You do see Polaron rifles, and you do see Dominion blades, some of the ritual blades that they used. You see a couple of looks like repurposed Federation phaser rifles, which those are a huge no-no outside of the Federation. Those technically you have legal authority to confiscate those because those are considered property of Federation. But you see Romulan, you see all from across the spectrum. Really, it's kind of a take your pick. You have to imagine as you're walking by, Cadence, that there's probably more behind the counter if you know the right words to say. Yeah. A few of the other shops that you all see, of course, are shops that where you can buy actual non-replicated food. Each of them have all these containment units of creatures that are just waiting to be eaten, moving around in the inside. Some of them look very unsavory and slightly deadly. You can hear music in the distance echoing down the corridors as you make your way through these poorly lit halls until you finally reach what you must be the center of the station, which is this grand concourse that rings around the station, very similar to how some newer Federation star bases are built. You can see the design relations and how they've advanced over time. And you are just on the outside of what would appear to be the main promenade deck of the pleasure deck, as it were. But again, Penn stops and says, All right, last check before we go inside. Is there anything you need to go over? Anything we need to talk about before we step in?
Yeah, who the hell are we?
That's a really good point. I know who I am. Who the hell are you guys going to be? And can any of you pull any of that off?
I assume we're trafficking some recently liberated small craft.
Does your contact know who we are?
I didn't tell him that I was with the Federation, but he's not going to be particularly shocked by that. I think so long as you don't, get don't bring up the war. It didn't go too well for the Breen, as you probably know, since they were, stupid and sided with the Dominion and all.
All right, we'll take that note. So,
Sounds easy enough.
I do. Are we using aliases, or shall we just go in with our names? I mean, I sincerely doubt any of us have enough renown where that might be a problem.
I think for ease, and judging from the fact that you just said that they won't care too much if we are part of the Federation, I think we just go with our names.
All right, sounds good.
We don't also
Yes.
need to introduce ourselves. There is no compulsion here. I doubt pleasantries are high on the to-do list for most folks.
I guess we'll
All
find
right.
out.
No time like the present. All right, Mr. Brock, if you would.
He nods.
I think before we walk up, Tivian just leans over to Cadence and says, "If only Father could see us now," and like eyes everything, kind of.
Dream.
The first thing you notice when you walk onto the main deck, where it expands into this darkened arena almost, multi-floored, where you can hear laughter and gambling happen. They use the darkness to their advantage when creating atmosphere. So you see all kinds of holographics and neon lightworks aligning the walls, fish like koi style, like holographic fish swimming above your heads, all sorts of feast for the eyes. You see all kinds of holograms in various states of dress doing slow dances on the corner. Most people are just ignoring them. They just seemed like they're desensitized to the stuff at this point. One of the most notable things you notice as you're walking in is this archway that gives way to the entire space has what looks like an old, decrepit plaque that is in the process of being overwhelmed by metal fatigue. And it says, "Welcome to Nimbus 3, Planet of Intergalactic Peace." It's kind of hanging slightly off to the side, like it's been hammered up there and just left to rust. But it's large enough that it's noticeable. As you step into this main room, you see all of these species from all across the spectrum moving about and walking through here. It's an assault of the senses, the sights, the smells, and the sounds. It's everything everywhere all at once. And it's just kind of happening at a slow pace. You can hear people playing Donjot. You can hear Dabo tables spinning and people shouting. There's a fight that breaks out somewhere. And you see, you can see Pend speaking, but you can't hear him as soon as you all walk into the room. He notices too that the sound is just overwhelming, and he pulls everybody just off to the side and kind of hangs low and says, "All right, I'm going to take us to the alcove where I know Vel is usually located. He might be a little hostile when we first meet, so don't pull weapons or let me talk him down. He's not going to be particularly happy to see me, but I'm bringing business to his door. Jaren, you've got the slips of Latinum. Just be ready to pull some of those out."
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give him some of the stipend. I find that a latinum laced hello tends to ease aggressions.
All right. This way. starts moving through the crowd, leading you all towards one of the lifts that goes to the second and third floors. Moving up to the second floor, you're greeted by a shocking sight. It looks like mounted on the wall in an alcove. It looks like the broken and heavily damaged skeletal shell of a Borg drone has been placed up into the space. It looks like it has a flickering force field around it, but it's like a trophy that's just kind of sitting there in the center of the room. As you guys move past it, Brog just kind of looks at it warily and says, "Oh, he's hated that thing." As he moves past it.
Yeah, I have notes for their interior decorator. Notes like, could you not?
As you all move towards the back of the room, it's easy to spot. You see the glowing teal, almost seafoam green light strip across the helmet of a Breen sitting in an alcove about 80 feet from where you are. Brog nods to all of you and takes point and moves up to the front, starts approaching the table. Strides up with the cane, and as you all fall in behind him, stops in front of this table where you see it's pretty bare, save for what looks like a very specialized looking drink that plugs into the helmet of this Breen, who is just impossible to read. Breen, of course, if you need the reminder, they are wearing helmets. They have that sort of green strip going across the face and this extended mouthpiece. Mysterious as hell. Most people didn't know what Breen looked like until just the most recent years. Never seen without them. It's known that Breen have to use life support systems when they are moving about, known primarily for being a race that endures in the deepest, harshest cold. It would be almost considered lethal to some of the other people around them. They're also known for using weapons and devices that utilize their ability to manipulate cold. They have been, as a quick refresher for all of you, one of the most mysterious and alien races that the Federation has run into. They've been very difficult, very much like some of the others out there, just beyond the norm, beyond the scope of some of the larger galactic governments. Breen are known for being very xenophobic and hostile to ships anywhere in their territory. Dealing with them has always been very touch and go. The Federation has always just given them a wild berth because giving them a wide berth is the safest thing to do. There's not even an official Breen embassy anywhere near the Federation. People just kind of leave them alone. The Breen typically leave other people alone, but they are known for being a race that can just turn hostile without real motivations or understanding as to why until the thing is all over. With that, Brog stands there for a moment and just waits to be acknowledged. And finally, you guys hear this strange digital sound emit from the helmet. Curiously, your universal translators do not pick up what's being said. It just comes out as the Breen language. Not all that surprising, since the Breen, so mysterious are they that the Federation doesn't have a full database of their language, and the universal translator is actually having trouble understanding what it is you're hearing. Brog, however, just says, "Well, I needed you to know that I was serious. That's why I decided to come into person. Don't worry, they're all with me, and they're not muscle or anything. We're all just trying to make money together. Think of it like that." The Breen tilts his head, and you hear again this noise come out of the helmet, and you see Brog's eyes widen. He goes, "Federation? Look, yeah, I get paid to do work from time to time. I'm a journalist. I do stories. It's a different lifestyle, all right? I've changed my tune. I'm living differently now. Occasionally I do work with the Federation, yeah, but they're not Federation, and I'm not here on behalf of the Federation. I'm here to talk to you about some information, and I've got money." The Breen sits up at that and leans forward. And again, this time the noise that comes out of him sounds like inquiry. and nods and says something like that. But you had mentioned that you might have some information about an acquaintance of mine and a business partner of yours. She's not in trouble, and if she's not the only option, I'm willing to hear more. But you brought up Casey when I was asking about this, so it's worth me asking about it again. The Breen responds, and you see the expression change on Penn's face. It says, really? All right, that's new. Is she still based out of here? The Breen replies and says, okay, well, in that case, how would we get in touch with her? Or do you want to be middleman here? And then the Breen replies again. This time there is an acidic tone to the voice. You can hear it in the digital voice. And he nods and looks back at all of you and says, looks like he's had a falling out with Casey, but she is the person we would want to look for. She's dealing in specifically equipment that others would consider outdated or junk. She kind of specializes in getting equipment that can be repurposed to the people that want it. Typically, it's illegal. Vel here used to be her business partner. They work together. I guess they've had some kind of fallout. But mentioned that she might be working for somebody else now. Doesn't sound good. And turns back and says, listen, I don't want to take up too much of your time, Vel. You clearly don't want to see me. So how about this? You point me in the right direction and I got some Latinum with your name on it. Sound good? The Breen replies and Vel sighs. You see Penn sighs and says, all right, well, how much is that going to cost me? And the Breen replies again. And Penn says, are you flirting with me or are you actually being an asshole right now? And you see the Breen stiffen a little bit. And he goes, hey, I'm just asking. I don't know if you're trying to speak Tellarite or if you're actually telling me to go screw myself, all right?
Can I attempt a check to see if this is going well? Like, can I try and read the body language of this breed
You may
to see if, like,
that attempt. Go ahead and roll me a command insight check.
We have, I believe, 3 momentum.
You did lose 1 momentum as the scene changed up.
Yeah, so we're down to, I have it down to 3.
This would be insight command. The difficulty of this is 3.
Insight command.
On a similar wavelength, can I look around for exits if we need to run?
Yes.
Even as we're coming up to the elevator, I'd love to know if
I'm gonna, if y'all don't mind, I'm gonna take one of those momentum for an extra die.
Okay.
I'm gonna call on my focus of composure here just to see, like, what's the vibe or team dynamics, whichever way.
Composure is your ability to keep your composure in the face of like stress. Like if you were being questioned, tortured, if you're trying to hide something, if somebody
gotcha
was yeah.
With team dynamics, we're just kind of reading the relationship between two people.
I would argue no, because that's more of like your ability to command team dynamics with your crew.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Here we go.
You need.
Boop, 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 boop. That's a 4, a 2, and a 5.
Wow.
That's at least 3 successes.
Here, I'm gonna take a picture and put it on the
so
thingamajig.
We'll do this one first, and then we'll do to Aeon next. You definitely get. I'll give you 2 pieces of information. The first one is you get the feeling there's a lot of history between these two. He's not just a contact. You get the feeling that these two have known each other for a while. And Pend is kind of. You get the impression Pend is kind of performing a little bit for you guys too. Like maybe Pend doesn't really want to let on that they know each other quite as well as they do.
Do we need to obtain information for the gay insight then?
You can burn for obtain information if you want to know a third thing. You've only learned 1. The It's up to y'all.
If you have useful things, do that. But otherwise,
Consider a floating
I mean, the door
possibility
was
of in the
open, the
future.
word float was used. So.
Yeah.
Y'all.
Let's see. That was a difficulty. What did I need to hit again? I'm
Difficulty three, and you
sorry.
hit 3. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yep.
So you
All
may give
right,
you 2 pieces of
yeah.
information for hitting the target number, but you can obtain information to gain additional info. You just got to tell me what you want to know.
Gang, do we have any ideas?
Well, let me answer the second piece, so that might inspire a third idea.
There you go.
The first piece is that you get that these two go back a ways. The second piece of information you get is that every time Casey's name is brought up, the Breen seems to get agitated. Any reference or question about it, your instinct is Casey and him, this Breen, go back a ways as well. And the Breen seems particularly irritated every time Casey is mentioned. As for how it's going, seems like it's going okay, question mark, but that it could turn south very quickly if not handled properly.
The only momentum spin I can think of is did they have a romantic history together?
Were they flirting for real?
Were they flirting
Information
for real?
spent.
You guys want to waste some momentum on a kiss?
Oh, I'm sorry. You said waste?
A smooch
Not
search.
always.
All right. How much momentum do we have now? Are they romantically involved?
Are they flirting for real? Information spent.
No,
I'm
they're
doing
not.
it for the crew.
No, they're not. You get the impression that the Breen fucking hates the Federation and probably holds it against Brog that he is now working as a journalist for the feds.
Oh, but he doesn't want to hold it against Brog. Got it. Thank you.
He looks like he looks like somebody. They have history, and he's angry that Brog is connected or has been in the past connected to the Federation.
And we don't know whether or not they have history.
You don't get romantic vibes at all. But this is not unusual because, again, the Breen are notoriously difficult to read.
Mysteriously gay. I understand.
All right. Is it only one momentum for ask additional questions? Because I have one other question.
For momentum spins to gain additional spinning momentum. Oh, that's personal conflict.
It says it in there in personal conflict as well, though. Obtain
I'm
information.
just trying to find
Because
out.
if not, I'm just gonna jump out the window if the crew is okay with it and do something bold.
Obtain
/
information
stupid.
is one momentum repeatable. It does not scale up, so you can just keep burning that if you want to know more info.
Oh, we got one more in there.
Say do it, yeah.
Does it seem like if we cut out the middleman that is Brog and appeared to hate the Federation, that we might be able to get more information from this Breen?
You mean if you appeared sympathetic to his hatred for the Federation, would that win you his favor?
Yeah, because right now it seems like the obstacle is Brog's relations to the Federation. And so, like, just for full transparency,
would this go easier?
Yeah, Jaren is thinking like if
Throw
he
him under
just
the shuttle.
kind of goes in on Brog, like, damn it, your attachment to the Federation is stopping business. I'm trying to get information here.
It's okay. So that is possible, yes. However, this Breen seems suspicious by nature. So it would be a roll, but if you succeeded, yes. But if you failed, you could burn the entire thing down, as he might get deeply suspicious as to that kind of behavior in front of him. You know what I mean? Like he would feel like somebody was being played here.
Okay, it's a gamba.
Yeah. Right. So that's the impression you're getting.
I'm ready to roll it. So essentially, I'm going to lean into Cadence's Maquis outfit and go, I have no love for the Federation either. You saw what they did to our planet. they dropped a goddamn quantum torpedo on it, and your relationship to the Federation is slowing down business. Now, me and the Maquis need information, and you're slowing things down. So, damn it, tell me what we want to know so we can leave. He's going to use that aggression to just not appear like a Starfleet officer.
I'm going to, if you remember correctly, in the last game session, I told you I was banking extra threat because at the end we were wrapping it up. I'm going to burn threat, and your gambit was working there for a split second, but you made a mistake, Jaren, and you realize you make it just as you say it, as I'm burning 2 threat for this. So this is not...
I mentioned the war. You
mentioned the Maquis. Who fought against the Dominion and the Cardassians, who were allies of the Breen, and you, as you say that, you see, it's almost as if the Breen hadn't registered that you were Bajoran. Like it didn't look right past it, didn't seem to notice. But the moment you bring up the Maquis, you see him stiffen up, and you immediately feel the tone in the room start to shift a little bit. I'm going to make a quick check here. Because in order to, I'm spinning this threat so that the stakes go up, but I'm not nullifying what you just did. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you make your roll now. And if you succeed, you're going to get what you want. However, if you fail, violence is likely what takes place.
I was counted on this. Don't worry.
Yeah.
We got this.
I'm so excited.
Oh, and by the way, I forgot to tell you guys this, but because of the scene that you all walked in on, I actually awarded myself an extra threat as you guys have walked into a very dangerous scene.
Reasonable.
So with that, I'm going to have you make the roll, and as part of that complication, I'm going to just keep the difficulty at 3 since I'm using that complication to raise the stakes of failure. So I'm going to count that. That's going to manifest. Since I burned the 2, I'm going to have that complication just manifest as basically a complication range increase. So if you roll a 19 or a 20, it's a complication, and it's going to be fight. So go ahead and make.
I roll a drip-based assist?
How would you assist in this?
Given that it was my sort of thing referred to that I had the Maquis look attached, if I can sort of mean mug in support.
Posture,
Yeah.
back it up.
It was my narrative detail. Can I help because it was my narrative detail?
I'll say this. If more than one person is talking or taking action, that's going to blow this. But if you're mean mugging the Tellarites, that actually I will let that be an assist.
Thank you.
Because it sounds like basically Jaren has established himself as probably the second in command, and now the crew is turning on Bragg. So I'll let you go ahead and do it. So Jaren, this is going to be a presence command check. You're quite good at those.
Gotcha.
For you, Cadence, this is going to be a presence security check.
Okay.
And I have one last determination in the pocket, and I'm going to spend it here.
Okay.
Which I'm spending it for the automatic crit.
Just keep in mind the determination has to be applicable.
I'm about to call the value here.
Okay, what's the value?
The value is my crew's survival at any cost. So he's gonna lean into this performance because he knows that if this goes wrong, he just put his crew in danger.
This is also for the mission. We have a directive kind of.
Yeah, we have directive.
We do have
from
directive.
the admirals. So
that's true. Yeah, I think I see where you're going with that. I feel like I'd be more comfortable if you were calling upon that if you guys were in dire straits or under fire or something. But it doesn't matter because Caitlin's right. You could just call upon the directive of the order too if you wanted to pull upon that. So either way, I'd let you spend the determination, whatever you're doing. Just
cool.
Yeah.
And due to let me double check, make sure that this is right. Yes, due to orb experience, let's see, when you gain the benefit of spending a determination, you may gain 2 benefits listed, while if you would gain determination, you gain 2 points instead of 1. So I'm going to going to call for 2 crits, which will bring us to 4, and then I'll roll.
Okay.
Let's go, Captain.
Shame you don't social much.
Yeah, no.
If we're all out of momentum, right?
I
Yes,
think it'll
okay,
burn
cool.
it. Yeah.
Yep. All right, here we go. That is a 16 and 11, which means that's 2 successes. My number to beat is 16.
And another one from Cadence.
So that is 7 successes total between
7 successes.
I think
Okay.
that's is that
So-
high water mark for Last Excelsior?
You gain
It might
4
be.
momentum from that then, and
And
The
under the
breeze-
bus, Brog goes.
yeah. Rod's mouth falls open, but being the quick thinking reporter that he is, realizes what you're doing, and he mouth kind of twitches for a second. He goes, look, I thought that we were still, we've done business in the past. I didn't think this was going to be a problem. Look, I didn't fight in the war. And then you just kind of shove past him. He takes a step back as you take point on this. And the Breen looks at you and says something. And Brog says, he wants me to translate for him.
Good.
And
Let him know. Oh, go ahead.
he says he wants to know your name.
Idril.
And who are you? Who are you
One
to
of
me? To me. Brog points at himself. He wants to know who you are to me.
I'm a source in one of your funny little stories. I give you information, you give me information. The information that you give me is none of his damn business.
He understands you, you know.
The information I give Brog is none of your damn business.
The Green doesn't react. He just kind of sits there. You're not sure how he took that, but he doesn't make a move. And
Above table, we all good. I'm just being.
Yeah.
He's just pretending to be a criminal.
I'm having a great time. This rules.
Okay.
he says something to Brog. Brog says he wants to know what you're offering for information on Casey. And then he basically called Casey some names, essentially a traitor. They used to work together.
Well, I don't know. I don't know our friend here. What does he want? You tell me what you want. I'll arrange you getting it.
There's a long pause, and the Breen says something, and you see Brog's face contort for a second, and he goes, "That's never going to happen. Ask for money." The Breen says something again, getting irritated, and he says, once you're done with Casey, he wants you to bring her to him.
Done.
So,
Anything else?
yeah, he wants 10 slips of latinum.
Everybody does. Couldn't give him
You
the
take out the last of the latinum. I'll let you say this is the last of the latinum. You pull out
Yep.
slips. The moment you take it, the Breen just puts his hands over it. While this is happening, to Aeon, you were looking for exits. So
Yes.
go ahead and make me a roll. For this roll, as you're kind of scoping out the bar, I'm going to need you to make a reason security check.
Okay.
I'll allow engineering too, but the difficulty would go up.
Okay. Do I know what a difficulty is?
Yes, the difficulty of this is going to be 3.
3. Okay.
We have 4
Um,
momentum if you need one. I know you have some stuff that is better without, but I don't know if this
I
falls
think in
into that.
this case I will use a momentum.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah,
And a
I'll use a
3.
momentum to buy a die.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So 2, 5, and a 7, which are all just normal successes. Just 3 successes.
Okay. Glancing around, scoping out the crowd as the conversation is happening. Lots of people really focused on their own thing. the exits here are not readily apparent. It's spacious enough that where you see a lot of openings, archways that lead further into other concourse areas, much like the one you first walked out of. And there are a bunch of side rooms where you can only imagine what must be happening off in those things. Business deals, back alley deals, weapons. I mean, lots of illegal stuff probably happening. It's multi-tiered, so you find yourself looking down 2 floors and kind of scoping the place out. But as your eyes are scanning the crowd, you can't help but notice that in the center of this place, on what looks like the most garish, flamboyant pedestal of a throne, surrounded by multi-sexes, multiracial people, and very limited amounts of clothing, there is a Ferengi dressed to the nine, who is also holding what looks like a small cane and is sitting on this large chair in front of a long table. It's worth noting this because it's kind of it's on a bit of a rise in sort of a VIP area that's been sectioned off on the same level that you are all on. You can see that currently it looks like he has taken a business meeting upstairs and is having discussions, but has glanced down and makes eye contact with you as you're scoping the place out. He just kind of stares at you for a long moment as the two of you gaze at each other. And after a few moments, you see this big toothy grin as he just raises his glass and nods to you.
I subtly kind of raise my cane in response.
Okay. He turns back to the meeting. You can't see the figure that he's talking to at the table, but it looks like a broad-shouldered, shadowy figure that is a little agitated. Other than that, no obvious exits except for the concourse areas into which you ran into. And your instinct is that pretty much almost everybody at this bar is probably armed.
Okay. I'll focus my attention back on the captain. A little bit worried now that it seems like exits aren't as readily available as I'd have liked,
Okay.
but things seem to be going better now that the captain's taken charge.
The Breen named Vel begins a long monologue that lasts a good 45 seconds or so as he starts doling out information. And Prague listens and goes, okay, sure. And where would we meet him? And he glances up and goes, look, this is not what he was asking for. You're supposed to be giving us Casey's location. How do we get in touch with Casey? Not somebody who can point us to Casey. That was supposed to be you. And the Tellarite looks irritated. The Breen finishes off what he was saying and he says, all right, we're being told to speak to whoever that is. And he points up at the table where you see at this point 2 individuals having a conversation, the shadowy figure standing up and saying something before tossing a bag to the Ferengi, who looks amused, like he just won the game of chess up there. And he says, Vel says that one there is the guy he's been doing all the side jobs with Casey recently. He's the last one to saw her and knows where to find her.
I do hope that you are as considerate with. That's not important. We'll go talk to them. Thank you. I think with that, he's going to cautiously back away from this situation and make his way to the group, unless anybody else wants to do anything else.
One last dirty look to Brog to sell it.
Okay.
Sure, that's why.
Okay.
I'm decor at this point. Tavine has no
right.
social to add to this. Is just very serenely standing. Has been the entire time.
Decor, good Vulcan name as well.
Yeah.
As y'all are moving away from Vel, you see Brog looks a little irritated and he goes, this happens every time. You burn money and they tell you the next person to talk to. Whoever this clown is, make sure he doesn't hustle us. He's probably going to try to squeeze us for more money. I hope you've got more Latinum on you.
Please tell me one of you remembered to bring your stipend as was instructed in the research packet that I gave you all.
Because if you didn't, we're probably gonna have to do favors.
If we're cool, I'll spend the momentum to be like, I did.
Okay. You guys see this figure as they're moving down the ramp. They head over to what looks like an alcove where there's a couple of people waiting for them. And as you're approaching, Prague is about to kind of round this alcoved corner. When the corner turns, it's disorienting. It's not a wall, it's a person that turns around. The height and bulk of the creature that turns and looks at you is astonishing, towering up close to almost 9 feet with broad shoulders and a reptilian head. You can see that it has this sort of deep reddish brown leather tunic that is barely stretching over the broad chest as you stare into the face of a Gorn. It turns and looks at all of you as you approach. And even though Gorn are known for having a sort of a monotone, very neutral expression on their face, this one looks clearly irritated as you all approach and almost takes a step in front until you hear a voice behind it and a green hand reach out and touch his shoulder and go, Koss, I've got this. And pushing the Gorn one step aside, you find yourself facing a Orion that's in this long, dark black coat with a bandolier over his chest. You can see scars in the top of his cranium that looks like he's had metal plates removed, and looks like there's scarification around his neck as well, almost indicating that at one point he was a slave. Looks like there's indications that some of the implants were forcibly removed from his own neck. He's backed up by a couple of people standing behind him, and you can see clearly 2 disruptor pistols that are crossed across his belt. But most notably is this glowing Ferengi energy whip that kind of hangs and dangles off the side down to about mid-thigh. And he quirks an eyebrow and looks you all over and waits. And Bragg just says, we were told to come talk to you about someone we're trying to find. And this handsome, wicked grin spreads across his face and goes, I find people. We're going to pause right there, though, because we've got to go on our 10-minute break. So we will be back in about 10 minutes, y'all.
Woo!
Oh, God.
Welcome back, everybody. We're going to jump right back in. You guys all find yourselves seated at a table in this corner of this bar area. The Gorn that you all nearly bumped into is standing watch and just looking around, and looks quite alert as he's standing about maybe 5 feet away from the table. The Orion that's seated across from you, seated by himself, looks like he's just trying to get comfortable and move that energy whip out of the way as he's seated into the booth. But as he takes a seat, he leans over the table and says, all right, so you're looking for somebody. Who are you looking for? And you see Bragg take a deep breath and go, all right, we're looking for a trader named Casey, uses this place as a base of operation. Orion raises his hand and goes, yeah, I know Casey. Did Vel send you to me? Yeah, after we paid him 12 strips of latinum. Okay. Well, yeah, I know Casey, but before I tell you anything, why are you looking for Casey? You see, Bragg takes a look at everyone to see if anyone's going to take that question, and then turns back to the Orion and says, she's known to deal in junk, outdated technologies and such. And he goes, yeah, that's a front. Why do you really want to find Casey? Front. No, we actually do want to talk to her because of her dealings with junk and outdated technologies. The Orion says, really? Huh. Legitimate business. Yeah, I know how you can find her, and she is still based out of the station. But she's fallen into a pretty bad crowd. She used to be doing business with me exclusively. But somebody else either offered her more money or she found a better gig. I don't know exactly what. She's turned her back on a lot of her old contacts, including Vel, who's, I think, taking it a little personally. Yeah, I got that impression. How could we get in contact with her? You haven't really told me what you want with it. There's no way a bunch of y'all are just looking for old, out-of-date junk. Casey's a friend of mine. I mean, yeah, she fucked me, but and I don't mean literally. I mean, she screwed me over business-wise. I'm just saying I don't have any ill will towards her. So why are you looking for her, really? I told you, we're trying to buy out of... No.
Why is it so outlandish? Did she really get that little business through her front?
He glances over and says, with you? And Bragg looks over and says, well, pretty obvious. They're at the table. I'm having trouble working out the leader dynamics here. Who am I talking to and who's taking point on this? Or is this a group meeting?
Oh, sorry. Should I direct my questions through an intermediary? I wasn't sure of the formalities here. I can wait till high afternoon tea.
Yeah, listen. I get this kind of banter on my own ship, and I don't need it. You're not paying me. If you've got nothing for me and you're not willing to answer my question, we can call it here. Frog says, no, wait, we're not willing to do that just yet. I mean, we've got something to offer. But Brog looks like he's sinking for a second, like he's having trouble coming up with a way to keep him at the table.
Jared's gonna say, you're making it very hard for us to pay you. I thought this place had a reputation for not asking a lot of questions. I can give you this assurance, your friend is safe with me. If anyone had a knife for their back, it would be our brain friend there.
Yeah. So my problem with what you're saying here is that this friend, Casey, has pissed off a lot of people. I didn't take it personally because I know how the game works, but people like Vel does, and I don't know you. So how do I know you're not hunting her down?
Because she'd be dead.
Okay. Well, if nothing else, you just gave up the game that you don't know Casey. So now we can talk.
I'm exposing the game that you don't know me, friend. I don't want bloodshed. I simply want to conduct business.
You see him squint his eyes a little bit, and he leans in and stares at you. The piercing, those emerald green eyes, he just looks at you for a moment, doesn't say anything, and it almost stretches into an awkward silence. And I'm going to need you to make a contested roll here.
Okie dokie.
So for you, this is going to be a presence command check.
Come on, baby.
We have 2 momentum.
I will spin one of those for extra die.
All right.
Okay. That's not bad at all. That's going to be a 2, a 5, and a 5.
Ooh.
Okay. Oh, oops.
Any focuses apply?
I can check.
One sec.
Those are values. I'm looking for focuses. Okay. Go with me here. I would like to call upon his martial arts boxing, like the traditional mean mugging, staring down your opponent. Like, in the promos where it's just like you stare down and the first person to blink loses. Like, he's doing just a classic.
That is part of that is actually
boxing promo.
I made a face, but that is actually a huge part of boxing setup. Is
Okay.
staring meanly at your opponent.
All right. How many successes did you get?
Well, if the focus applies, that's going to be 2, 4, 6.
It doesn't. It's not an intimidation
Okay.
check. Yeah.
Gotcha.
This is the convince. This is the to convince.
No, this is the
Other than
high
that-
motivation. He's trying to read you right now.
Oh, the hide motivation.
Mhm.
Oh, ooh.
Composure?
I would say that would then I would call a
Composure.
composure for that one.
Composure would work. Yes.
All right, then that's 6.
Okay. He eyes you for a long moment. And Captain, as he gazes at you, you get the impression that your years of training and tactics and Starfleet intelligence and command and everything, it's really paying off right now, because this is a man who really doesn't bring a lot of ego to the table. He's probably got a lot of buttons you could push, but there's a veneer. He's hiding behind he's masking big time. He's not really letting his hand show. But more importantly, as he looks at you, you get the impression that he's actually probably pretty good at reading people. But he doesn't seem like he finds what he's looking for as he's staring at you.
If this goes on for longer than like 10 seconds, Tavine just goes, I could recite schematics of aging vessel parts if that would aid our case.
I think Jared's actually going to give a little bit of a carrot to, like, knowing that this is somebody that's trying to read him. He's going to give a little bit of truth with the skewed perspective, which is, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be having this conversation with you. And if you're looking to know the type of man I am the type of man that is responsible for the death of thousands, friends and enemies alike. And I would just rather be doing anything else right now.
Blair for the dramatic, huh?
I figure we could cut the bullshit and get straight to the point.
Bullshit.
You know who I am?
Hold
I
up,
know
hold
who
up,
you
hold
are.
up, Space Cap. I'm gonna hold up for a second. Let's get one thing clear.
Yes.
All I wanted was to know the real reason you guys were looking for Casey, because I can tell you're not telling me something, and all you've given me is pushback, attitude, and dodging. So listen, I'm willing to work with you because I get the impression that you're not after her for bad reasons.
Again, I do offer reciting aging schematics of vessel pieces if that would aid our case, because truly that is my expertise and that is genuinely why we would like to speak with Casey. We think she might be able to point us at parts we need.
I can lead you to where she does business, but I can't guarantee you're going to get the welcome that you might normally get. Like I said, she's fallen in with some pretty bad people that I don't typically deal with myself, people who have been a problem for me, and it's pissed a lot of folks off. I just want to make sure you're not one of the folks that's coming after her. We do what we can to survive in this part of space. Casey's no different. I just want to make sure she's going to be all right. That's all.
Sounds like she deals with people like us all the time, Ben. This should be easy.
Yeah, I guess. All right, I'll tell you. But I'll need something in return.
Of course.
I'm not going to squeeze you because apparently you already got squeezed. But I would like to. I'd like to be available if you're going to meet up with Casey. Y'all are going down there looking for her. Me and Koss would sure like to be there. You know, so we could talk to her.
Interesting. But a deal? Like I could agree to.
All right. Hey, and looks over at Koss. This Gorn looks down at him and says, "Want to go meet up with Casey?" And the Gorn just looks at everybody at the party and doesn't say anything, just stares back, and the Orion nods and says, "All right. There's a chance we could catch her in the next hour or so. She's supposed to be heading back to the station. From what I've been told, she's doing a run. But the people that she's working with, as I noted before, not the best people. If you guys are willing to maybe help back me up when we have a conversation with them, then yeah, I think we can work this out.
It's
What
like
do they owe you?
Fred.
What do they owe me?
What do they owe you?
Well, satisfaction. You see, I'm pretty sure that whatever they've got Casey doing, it's actually not as beneficial to her as she's making it sound. And the truth of the matter is without her, we're kind of stuck here. So the stakes are a little high for me and Koss, and we're looking to get off station as quickly as we can. So Koss and I are just two, though. I mean, no offense, buddy. You technically could count as four, but the truth is we're a little outmatched on this one. But if we're both in it to help Casey out and get some information or equipment out of her, then maybe if they decide to show some muscle, maybe we all stand a bigger chance of pulling this through. And if that were to happen, I would expect to get at least some of the parts that Casey's got laying around that we could use. You get the idea. Salvage, something like that.
I'll look to the crew, see if there's anything anybody else wants to say or do.
Brog leans over and says, "This is just fucking weird. I don't know what his game is. I don't know what this is. What I feel like he's pretty much using us to be his muscle here or something. Does it sound right to you guys?"
Yes.
That sounds like he's
Clearly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not here to shoot anybody. I don't know about y'all, but I was planning on avoiding that.
Hopefully, it won't come to that, but I don't know if we have any other choice unless you want to be pointed to another person who can point us to another person who can point us
Look,
to Casey.
end of the day, the station is of a finite size. We don't need the guy. He's somewhere between a busybody and outmatched in what he's got. But if he's right that there's trouble, then they're our warm bodies.
I kind of have to agree. I think I got to agree with Cadence. I don't know that we need this guy. I feel like we're just getting kind of the runaround.
But if we're getting in a firefight, would I rather have two more than two fewer?
Well,
Plus-
I don't know about you, but it seems like this guy's looking for the meatiest part to stab us in the back. So
I would say it seems he's in it for his own gain, and he wants a way out. Casey's his way out, and you did promise Casey to a hostile and aggravated Breen, so perhaps this is Casey's way out of this also, Captain.
that's what I was thinking as well. All right, so it looks like we're all agreed that we're going through with this.
I would love to not.
I'm not a fan of this either, but okay. By the way, I don't know how to handle a weapon. I can swing this cane, but
Are you good at you are good at hiding?
I'm good at hiding. Yeah,
There you go.
Use your personality aggressively.
I could do that.
Or find a wall panel.
I could probably do that too.
So above table, what do we want to do, gang?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say yes. Like reluctantly, we all dislike the idea, but it is like Kaden says, two extra bodies is better.
I'm happy to dislike it. I'm also happy to try to find the solution that's clearly not the intended one.
Yeah.
Equally pleasing to me. Okay, no. Finding the unintentional solution always pleases me more just as such. But
Yeah,
this
yeah.
seems like a perfectly nice little road
Yeah.
to go down. It's fine. It's all good.
Tavine
I'm
finds this the
flexible,
most
I don't know.
straightforward path, so
I will go
she's
wherever
fine
you
going
guys
now.
want to go.
All right, we'll go through the straightforward path.
You have as
I'm sure
much
we'll
of a-
find something to
You have as much of a sandbox and freedom as you've ever had. You can literally walk away from this table and never speak to this dude ever
And I
again.
have alternates if we need another way of doing the thing.
I feel like we'll find something else to screw up along the way. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't get my hopes up.
I'll try with you.
All right.
I'm in your corner.
We're taking the deal.
You turn back and he smiles as you confirm that you're taking the deal, and he says, "Well, no time like the present." He slides out of the booth.
All right. Well,
Oh.
let's get to it.
Right this way. And
Following along.
you all, as a small crowd, begin moving through. One thing you notice that's much different as you were all moving through the crowds here on the promenade headed towards the lift is everyone gets the fuck out of Koss's way as the Gorn is making his way very slowly and deliberately. You can hear the heavy thudding of his clawed feet as he makes his way over to the lift. And as he approaches it, you see a Ferengi that is currently counting on a data pad, who's about to get in front of the lift, see him approach, and just takes a bunch of steps back, turns, and walks away. Koss just walks in, opens the door to the lift, and steps inside with everybody. A few moments later, what's that?
I was going to say, as we're entering the lift, and honestly, as we're throughout the entire journey, I think, to wherever we're being led, I would like to kind of like watch the Orion and the Gorn and see if I can gauge anything like anything useful for me to know in case things go sour and we have to fight these two. Anything like do you have a limp? Did it seem like prefer one hand to another? Like anything I could gauge that would be useful.
Make a command insight. This would be, I'm sorry, make an insight security check.
Okay.
Again, I think we can weaponize Brog's personality to great military tactical effect.
Yeah. Difficulty of this is just a flat 2.
Oh, perfect. I rolled. No, I don't have any focuses because it would have been great if I had a focus for it. There's 2 successes.
2 successes. Okay. Your instinct is the Orion is probably someone who relies a little bit more on a strategic or tactical mind. He's definitely well built and he looks quite capable of moving, but you don't get the impression he doesn't seem like he is much of the fighter type. He seems more of like the leader type, seems a little bit more of like the quick wit, the thinker type. The Gorn is very easy to read. Judging from some of the damage that is not healed properly on his scaled hide, this is a creature that's probably taken some hits before. And by hits, I mean, he's probably been shot a few times. Judging from the look of him, he's probably, it's difficult to tell his age, but the reputation Gorn have for being very difficult to kill and being very dangerous, particularly up close, is well deserved. Of the Gorn you've seen, this one is just abnormally large. You can't help but wonder if there is an enhancement involved, or you're not sure what, but for a Gorn he's not saying much, but you get the impression that if a fight breaks out, Koss, this big Gorn, is going to be a problem for everybody. He is Mr. Problem. Whereas the Orion, you just get the impression there's probably the Orion's playing his cards close to the hand. In other words, to put this into phrase, you get the impression that one's a rogue and the other one is a barbarian. So it's kind of the impressions you're getting. You can't really turn your back on the Orion, and you can't really take cover from the Gorn. It's kind of what your takeaway is.
Okay. Because of self-reliant, I get 2 bonus momentum for meeting that target, and I would like to use 2 momentum to create a trait.
Okay.
I think I'm trying to think of a good one-word trait, but can I just write like maybe like red, as in like I've read these 2 in case things do turn out sour and we have to fight them. I like to use like
I like that.
Trait red.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give it a trait where you've kind of have measured them both, so you can anticipate what their preferred tactics might be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll let that. Yeah. I like that. Totally. I will say you do get the impression that the whip that the guy's got on his belt is probably not just for show. You also know that's a weapon that's banned in Federation space too. So definitely these 2 are dealing with some black market, off the books kind of stuff. But as you're all led out and into the main concourse area, the lead Orion begins to start yammering on. Your first time at Drosana Station? As he starts heading down one of the concourse areas very casually.
Is that to anyone in particular or just the group?
He's mostly just making conversation. Nobody has to talk to him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but for the most part, he just kind of carries on about Drosana, as you probably know, it's got a lot of history. It's a good place to hang out. Yeah, I used to have a space station of my own for a hot minute there.
Entire space.
Then what
station.
happened to it?
Oh, I have no idea. But I learned very quickly that being a pirate king is not what it's cut out to be.
Ah. Yeah, I hear it's a rather hazardous line of work.
Yeah, it's staying in one place for a little too long. Assassins know exactly where to find you. It's rather stupid, I find. Yeah, better to keep under the radar. Yes, that was the one good thing that came out of the war for me, is when all hell broke loose, it became harder to find the people you didn't like anymore, blend into the chaos and all that.
I don't know, seems to me like you can hide out on a station so well someone can get 12 slips out of you just to find out where they are. Nope, to pass them along to someone else to find out where they are.
Hey,
Maybe it wasn't as hard to hide as you thought.
don't take it out on me that you're a bunch of suckers. As he moves down the concourse area, as you guys are headed towards what looks like a large lift at the end of one of these large corridors, stepping out in front of your path, you all see 3 Nausicaans just make their presence known as they step out in front. And you see, as that happens, Koss and the Orion come to a dead stop. And the Orion just goes, oh, well, it looks like they came to us. Raises his hands and goes, what? I know what you are doing, Zazar. It's not going to work. Casey works for us now. Yeah, works for you now. Yeah. Well, listen, I'm not one to tell Casey who she can and can't work with. She's a grown woman, can do whatever the hell she wants. Problem is, the parts that I was buying from her, the ones you all stole, I need those back. See, Koss and I here can't leave Drosana until we repair our ship, and it's an old ship. You know how it goes. Koss is kind of upset. Aren't you, Koss? Kind of disappointed a little bit. The Gorn just stares like a crocodile waiting for someone to get stupid and get too close to it. It just stalks still and stares at them. The Nausicaans glance at Koss and glance back. They don't seem terribly intimidated, however. And then the Orion raises his hands, like, look, we just want to talk to Casey. And I don't know if you noticed, but you're outnumbered, so maybe fuck off. Or else my friends here are going to vaporize you, and no one will miss you. How's that for a deal? The Nausicaans stand their ground, and now I'm going to roll PC. Let's see here.
Ox point.
You want to spin an ox point to go? Okay, so this is going to that means spinning an ox point is going to treat Zazar like he is a support character for this role. So that means one of our ox crew members is basically going to get go ahead, if you would please roll a d12.
Let's do it.
6.
Oh, it's actually 13, so 6. Thank you, Kai,
Thanks
for taking
Kai.
control of Zazar in this particular moment. Okay, in that case, let me just make that roll, and I'm going to call upon, let's see.
Stupid sexy ox girl.
Okay, okie dokie. With that,
Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
listen, if there's a set of stats that Zazar is good with, it's presence. And
Yeah.
there is a part of each of you that he says it with such confidence and matter-of-factness that it takes you a moment to realize he's talking about all of you. You're just convinced that Zazar has a backup crew that's going to pull weapons and kill, and that these guys are outnumbered. It takes you a split second where you're like, oh my God, he's inferring us. The Nausicaans look like they are second guessing their chances here. And one of them finally speaks up and says, You're not going to make it out alive when you go down there. I don't know about that. Besides, I'm just going down to do business. Just have a conversation. I don't even want all the parts, just my parts. So step aside before I turn you into a smear of DNA on the metal plating of this entire station. Sound good? Yeah? And eventually, the Nausicaans take the hint, and you see them step aside. As you were all moving past them, they are staring daggers at each of you, and Koss just looks at them, and you all can hear this deep rumble coming from Koss as he moves on. Because of your role earlier, I'm going to go ahead and give this to you, to Aeon. The Nausicaans look like they are probably not finished here. They're letting you pass, but your instinct tells you they're going to follow you guys. You get the impression just tactically that they're probably not done with this. And you do see that they have disruptor pistols and knives all over them. So
as we walk past, I think I'll whisper to Lieutenant Zarya, I have a feeling those two are going to be following us, so I'll be keeping an eye out, but I might need your help as well.
She nods, says, good catch.
Urge to split the party rising.
I'm literally same.
We are keeping the goddamn party together.
You let us. Why?
For one episode, we're sticking together.
And then Taeon turns around and runs in the opposite direction for no reason at all.
You've played with me and Sam. You know how we get.
I know. Wrangling y'all together with the...
No. Okay. Hey, if the captain wants us to see the presence command checks, we should be a good audience for the captain.
So when the doors of the lift open and you guys step out onto the concourse, a few moments later, you find yourselves entering into one of the sub-hangars on one of the outer rings of the station. And as you enter that hangar, you find yourself in a really ratty-looking, rusted old hangar that is accommodating a large civilian vessel. The vessel is roughly, actually, let me double check. It's quite large. So it's about the same size. It's a scale 3 ship. So it's just taking up the entirety of the hangar. It's civilian craft. Big civilian merchant, but looks like it is ragged and old. Probably, if judging from the look of it, is probably an antique of a ship. But as you walk in, you see what looks like an Asian human woman who has got her hands up and is standing in front of a small group of Nausicaans. And it looks like you've walked in on an argument that they're having. The woman looks possibly of Korean descent. Looks like she has, looks like she's well dressed, but it also looks very similar in her attire as Zarya. She does have a weapon at her side and a bunch of data pads, but those are not drawn. Her hands are kind of up. If you guys want to make a command insight check to get a quick snapshot of what is going on here before the scene begins, I can give you an update on what you've walked into. The difficulty of this is just 2. Whoever wants to make it can make it.
Oh, I just rolled. I rolled 3 successes.
3 successes?
Yeah, we're all gonna watch Drax make the...
Okay. So gain a momentum for the party. To Aeon, this looks like a scene where she was maybe getting shaken down or something is very wrong, but she looks desperate and angry. And the Orions, the Nausicaans that are standing in front of her look amused, unsympathetic, and slightly murderous. And they're kind of having a standoff. If you didn't know any better, you would probably say that you walked in just as they got done getting screamed at by her. And they seem unmoved. But all of that energy changes when Zazar comes striding in like he owns the fucking place with you guys in tow. And he raises his hands up and he goes, Casey, you're here. I thought we were going to have to wait all night for you. Casey turns and sees him and she goes, fuck. You've got to be fucking kidding me right now. This is the last fucking thing I need. Why are you here, Zazret? I'm just here to get what you owe me. How's it going? Nods to the Nausicaans. The lead Nausicaan has a rather stern reaction to the appearance of the Orion. And just as he watches Zazret and Koss enter into the space, the lead Nausicaan just says, "You're going to get yourself killed, Zazret. The luck's starting to run out real slow." Voyek, I wasn't sure if you were the one that she was working for, but now that I've seen your ugly face, I gotta say, Casey, you used to have standards. She leans, just, this isn't a fucking game, okay? You don't understand what's at risk. I need to take care of this. What do you want? Why are you here? Who the hell are these people? I'm here for my parts. I just want to get what's owed to me. Voyek turns and says, how about instead of your parts, I take you apart? And he puts his hand on his disruptor. The rest of the Nausicaans also put hands on weapons. And
I would
Yeah.
love to walk in between them and Zazra, just kind of stand in between there.
Okay.
Not looking particularly menacing, like they're literally in like a Hawaiian t-shirt, just kind of leaning on their cane in between them. Just go, we're just here to talk. We're here for some parts, or at least some information on parts. We'll be out of your hair soon, so you can put those itchy trigger fingers away.
The Nausicaan looks at you and cranes his head. If you would like to try and convince them to chill the hell out, that is a social combat. It's a social conflict roll.
Okay.
So the way this is going to work is you're basically going to, it's just rolling your command presence check here. And the idea is they're going to have an opportunity to resist. They'll also have the opportunity to yield. And it'll see how things unfold here. You're using, you're not trying to use an intimidation. You're trying to negotiate here.
Yes.
Okay.
I'd like to assist if I could.
Sure. How are you going to assist?
By volunteering de-arming. I am going to drop the holster that has the phaser. I'm doing what I can to de-escalate the situation.
Okay. It's very quick, but as you drop the holster that's holding your phaser, Zazrit shoots you a look for 1 second that basically, as good as he is as keeping a poker face, for a split second in his eyes, you almost can hear his voice going, "What the fuck?" And then he just gets back into calm, looks back at the Nausicaans like this is all part of the show. But you see his anxiety spike for a split second as he kind of drops the fear of confidence.
How many Nausicaans are there, by the way?
There are 4 Nausicaans here, as well as the lead Nausicaan. So 5 total. And there are 3 that are coming in behind you at some point. So a small crew, basically.
I'm going to roll mine, and because I'm assisting you, Drax, you get to re-roll a d20.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'll re-roll one. Yep,
That's a crit on my end.
Okay. Let me just check the difficulty here. So given the situation, what you're coming in with, what is going to be your approach? What is your pitch to them? What is going to be your pitch?
I think it's really, we're just here to talk to Casey about some parts where we can find them and maybe buy them from her. Then we'll be out of your hair. Listen, we don't want trouble right now. So I guess just being like, it'll be quick is essentially my pitch right now.
Okay. Go ahead and roll. And this is going to be a contested roll here. So go ahead and roll the dice. It's going to be your
2 successes.
presence command. 2 successes. Okay.
That's 3. You got
3?
one more.
Okay. You see Zazar just go, and he looks like he's wanting to see if that worked as you say this. And then Nausicaan nods slowly and says, "That seems reasonable." Unfortunately, we're not the ones with the job. We're doing the job. we're not getting these parts for ourselves. We're getting them for somebody else, which means I'm not really in a position to negotiate. Sorry, Zazar. It looks like you're stuck on Drosana. There's a moment of tension where no one says anything. Each one of you, as you're assessing the situation, can see in a moment, Casey looks like she's going to pull something. You can see the tension getting higher, and you can see her just glancing at everybody.
Can I see who her intended target is?
You get the impression she's going to run. Probably up the ramp of her ship, is your guess. The Nausicaans look like they're ready to draw. Zazar has his hands up. He does not look ready to draw. Koss doesn't look armed. He doesn't seem to have a visible weapon on him at all. But he's standing out in the open away from cover and staring down the Nausicaans like he's going to be able to take their disruptor blasts, which, as cool as he is, disruptors don't really care if you're Gorn or not. They just kind of kill you. It's a pretty tense standoff at the moment. And then there's, of course, your chief security officer is in front of all of this.
I'm about to jump out the window unless somebody else has another idea.
I'm down to take a run at social.
I'm gonna jump out the window socially, but you if you have the plan, go for it.
No. I mean, I goofed earlier, but in fact, I don't want me making a presence command check when I can have you make a presence command check. Please say things instead of me. Also, just by the respective personalities of these characters, please say things instead of me. Unless you want to give Drac an opportunity to be great and we can see the sunny side of control security.
Well, so I'm going to go ahead and just put this condition out there. Because an attempt was made to negotiate and it failed, there's not really a lot more avenues for social checks here. Unless you are willing to do something drastic and different. But the attempt to socially disarm the situation by reason that has been attempted and it has failed. So you will need to try a new avenue or up the stakes or do something that stands apart from what Aeon just tried.
I can't think of anything.
Threat?
I wasn't gonna threat. I was gonna sell out Zaz here. Like,
okay, how are you gonna do it? That's a hell of a move.
That's funny.
Yeah, like, listen, we only followed this room because he knew how to get us in this room. I don't give a crap what you do to him, and I don't want anybody's parts. I just want 5 minutes to talk to that one, and then after that, I'll leave. You can do whatever you want. Nobody, no bloodshed, no violence while I'm in the room. What happens when I'm out of the room, I truly don't care. But I could guarantee you one thing: if we do go the violent route, we may lose, but we're taking one of you with us. So instead of mutually assured destruction, give me 5 minutes. We leave, and you can deal with everybody else as you like.
Zazar nods and goes, "Smart." The lead Nausicaan looks like he's considering that. It looks like that appeals to him until the GM spends 3 threat and calls reinforcements.
I believe means.
I get
my determination back. Let's go.
But the 3 threat is 1 threat per reinforcement that I just called. So as you finish saying that, as he is looking like he is considering this, all of a sudden you hear the lift behind you guys. And then Austin goes, "It was a good pitch while it was a good pitch." And he goes for his weapon. All the other Nausicaans immediately reach down and go for their weapons. And Casey, in that exact moment, bolts for the ramp. And as that is happening, Zazar rolls to his left and grabs his holster and stands behind Koss, just kind of rolls behind Koss. And you can tell that may have been Zazar's strategy. However, Koss's action is to dive towards the Nausicaans like a football player. And it catches Zazar a little by surprise as his cover goes leaping forward and you see his eyes widen a little bit. We are actually going to now take the first round of combat. Now, here's the good news. In Star Trek Adventures, unless I spin threat or the situation calls for it, players always go first. So even though they went for a quick draw, the crew of the USS Pride gets to react because y'all are the stars of the episode. So, right off the bat, you get to go first.
Can I ask how far they are from us? The people behind us and in front of us?
They're about 20 feet, whereas the turbo lift that is just starting to open up behind you guys is probably a good 60 feet behind you.
All right, Kane.
Who would like to go first?
I mean, unless anyone objects, I think Tail was almost anticipating this to happen. So they will move immediately into action.
Okay, what would you like to do?
Can I move towards one of the rifle wielders, the one that's quick drawn?
None of them have rifles. It all looks like they have pistols.
Oh,
pistols
okay.
and knives. Yeah.
I want to move up to one of them, and I'm going to strike them with my walking cane.
Okay.
Mechanically, just a bludgeon, but I was like, it'll be fun to play it as my walking cane right now as I strike for them first.
Okay. Then you basically launch forward towards one of them as they're pulling their disruptor pistol. You bring that cane up. Go ahead and make the attack. It is a melee attack.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead and make your. Do you remember how to do this? Melee attack is daring security, and it's versus their daring security. The difficulty is 1. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go ahead.
And this is hand-to-hand combat, so this would count as my focus. Oh, that's 2 crits. That's a 4.
That's 4 successes. I don't think there's any reality in which this minor NPC can withstand 4 successes on a melee attack. That is a brutal hit. Okay, 4 successes. All right, I've got to roll my daring security. I mean, they're nothing to sniff at, but let's see if I can.
Taeon's not known for long combats.
What's that?
Taeon's not known for long combat. In fact, I don't think Taeon is known for the second round of combat traditionally.
Yeah.
And I roll, and oh no. How many successes did you get?
4.
4 successes?
Yes.
Okay. What's the damage on the cane? Is it just like 1? I'm guessing
it would be. I took the bludgeon melee weapon and just said that's the cane because I like the flavor text of that. So that's a 3 severity.
Okay. 1 sec here. Character design. Oh, okay. All right. So with Vulcan's strength, that he raises his arms to try to block, but he is, again, a minor NPC. So as you bring the cane up into his chest, there is a popping sound as you impact the cane right against his torso. He doubles over, all of the air leaves his body, and he collapses to the ground, almost a full foot away from where he was originally standing, and just crumples to the ground. He is out of the fight. You just knocked his ass straight out. He is totally
Did you get any
gone.
momentum from combat? I don't remember how that.
Yes, because you beat remember the difficulty was just 1.
But it won even based on what they roll.
Yeah, the difficulty is 1, and then it's whether or not you succeed or fail is based off of
what they roll.
What they rolled, yeah.
Okay,
so
cool.
Go ahead and add. So how many successes did you get?
4.
4 total.
So 4. So I see what you're asking, Caitlin. Yes, you're correct. So 4 successes, then you get 2 momentum.
Because I'm self-reliant, I also get a bonus momentum because I beat the difficulty of 1 by 1, so I get additional bonus momentum.
Okay.
I'm going to spend that bonus momentum for an additional action.
You're going to keep the initiative?
Action. Not keep the initiative. I want to take an additional
major
action.
Okay.
Because I have the ability fire at will, which lets me spend one momentum instead of 2 to do that.
Okay.
So I'm gonna immediately go.
You're pulling your phaser, I take it?
No, if I saw that just my cane was enough, I'm gonna do the same with.
Oh, okay.
Anyone...
Fire at will
Whack.
lets you basically attack twice. I'm guessing. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it's. Go ahead.
Yeah. So if I can, there's anyone within range that I can.
Yeah, I mean, there's 4 other Nausicaans that are standing right next to where you are. You lunged forward, took one of them down. There is the lead Nausicaan, and there are 3 others that are flanking him. You just took down the one on the farthest left flank.
Okay, I'll take out the next
next guy over.
Next guy over, not the lead, but the next guy over.
Yeah, sounds good.
As you see, Teon very swiftly turn and aim for the side of the temple with the cane for the next guy. And that is 2 crits again, so that's 4 successes.
Okay, this is what you do. This is what you do. All right, so let me just roll again.
I think because I took a second action.
Oh yeah, not a single success. You absolutely clobber that guy.
Yes.
So like a samurai just leaping up there with the cane and just taking it across 2 of these Nausicaans. The cane smashes into the first one who doubles over, and the second one catches him across the cranial head, and he goes snapping back and just collapses to the ground unconscious. His disruptor flips through the air because he was in the middle of drawing it when you knocked him out. Flipping off through the air and clatters to the ground a good 20 feet behind him as you just see his feet kick straight up as he just falls flat on his ass and collapses backwards.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You all are watching the Vulcan strength of the security officer just absolutely dropping the Nausicaan pirates in 2 hits. Bam, bam! And both of them are down.
And because I'm self-reliant again, I get bonus momentum. And I think because I took a second action, the difficulty would have been 2 now. So I get 2 bonus momentum for clearing it.
Oh my gosh, we are max already. So
the bonus momentum is for me as I spend 2
okay.
bonus momentum to create a trait, and I'm gonna give my the traits frightening as they saw a Vulcan take out.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put that trait. I guess that'd be like an environmental trait or like a trait for me specifically when targeting me, but
yeah.
Pretty frightening.
Okay. I will keep that in mind and how it will apply to the combat. Is there any desire to keep initiative, or is it going to trade off over to the Nausicaans now?
If we have I have an idea if we want to keep momentum.
Yeah, if we fill up on momentum, might as well use
keep initiative.
Keep initiative, yeah.
Did you want to go?
I have an idea.
Sure.
Keeping in the Vulcan spirit, I would like to use Teon's movement to kind of shadow them forward.
Okay.
Pass by the 2 people that he clocks. I want to go for the leader, and I would like to pull a classic Vulcan nerve pinch. I want him down.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. So if I remember correctly,
I can read it if you'd like.
Yeah. Go ahead and read it off to me, because I think it just instantly gives them an injury if they don't succeed, but it's a non-lethal injury that knocks it. Go ahead and read it.
You have learned numerous techniques for this stimulation and control of nerve impulses, collectively called neuropressure. Some applications of neuropressure. The nerve pinch counts as a melee attack, which inflicts stun injuries with a severity of 3 and the intense quality.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So the intense quality, just so you know, is when you make an attack with this weapon, you may increase the severity by spending 1 momentum rather than 2. Repeatable. So you can ramp up how much damage this non-lethal attack does.
Yes. So, I just want to put him. I basically just want to go to sleep. Go to sleep. Yeah.
Okay. In that case, you charge the Nausicaan named Voyak, who sees you coming, and you are going to need to. It's a melee attack, so the difficulty of this is 1. And does it? What stats are you rolling for this? Out of curiosity.
It gives me alternatives, but I actually just want to do standard. I'm allowed to use science or medicine if I'd like.
That's what I was asking, because the first time when the very first combat we ever got into on Shield of Tomorrow was they were fighting. It was off screen. And we were doing, Eliza jumped in and did a Vulcan nerve pinch on one of the Orions and used her science score, which was punishing, and dropped one of the Orions. Go ahead and whichever you want to roll, go ahead and make that daring check.
Well, yeah. No, I'm actually going to use security.
Okay, cool.
I am not a Vulcan with a science mind.
All right, sounds good.
But I would like to buy a die.
Oh, you don't say.
Okay.
I know.
So,
Yeah, nerve pinch. Here we go. Oh my god. Damn. Oh, I don't think any of my focuses count. That would rock if they did.
how many successes?
3, but it would. I don't think I would have 2 crits, but I don't have any focuses. I don't think.
Okay. Well, the good news is you beat him because I only rolled 1 success. So you're going to get 2 momentum from that.
I just want. How much severity do I have to inflict to put him down, like to sleep, basically?
That is a good question. How much damage does it do by default?
So it is
3. Is that
a
correct?
severity of 3 in the intense quality.
So that means you can spend momentum to up how much damage it's going to do when you do the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I have a floating momentum and a full momentum pool.
yeah, I mean, you don't know how much health this guy has, so it's going to be kind of like taking a risk, however much you want to burn for it. He is a big Nausicaan.
Yeah, crew. What do we think?
I'll give you
think
this much. He's not a minor. He is not a minor NPC.
Yes.
I would spend the momentum to disarm him.
Well, but yeah, you could.
You're
Right
in
now-
melee combat with a Nausicaan. So that is also another thing. Like, it is worth spending resources versus a Nausicaan, given Nausicaaan's specific ability set in melee range.
I can always rally. Let's spin.
Sure.
Speed.
Do I take it
Bump
down
it all the way
to all the way down, or I'm gonna leave 1. I have 1
Okay.
floating momentum and a full pool. So if we take 6, if I jump 6 into it,
Oof.
how does that look?
I'd say do it, yeah.
So
Yeah.
6
I'm down.
damage total.
6 on top of the severity, the 3.
It'd be 9
So
total.
6 is 9 damage total.
9. Mm-hmm.
Okay. 1 sec.
Go to sleep. 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 I do not want to continue this combat with you.
Oh my god.
Look, I cannot overstate how much my sister does not enjoy social interaction.
I'm genuine-
He is going to burn. He can only do this once, but he is going to burn 1 threat and avoid injury.
Entirely?
Yep, he can burn. He can literally just burn 1 threat.
I
Otherwise,
forgot
that
how
would,
this game works.
that would-
I forgot.
otherwise that
Yeah.
would have dropped him.
Damn it.
But as you slam your hand down into his shoulder and clench down, he throws his head back and goes, "Ah!" As you feel it. But as you clamp down on him, you feel his body start to buckle underneath you, and then rage overtakes him, and you see him barely pull himself out of it and turn on you, and does not go down. He is going to make. He can only do it once, but he stays standing.
All right, you guys. All right, everybody else's turn next time.
I'd like to use decisive leadership to keep the initiative for free.
Can we do it more than once?
I think you can only do it once.
If you you can't, since keeping the initiative was already done, the next round has to go to the enemies. If you would
Right, but
use
then-
you can use that instead of paying the cost for keep the initiative, but you can't keep the initiative twice in a row. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Which means that Nausicaan is the Nausicaan leader on his action is going to take the action to turn on your Vulcan Helms officer, and he is going to attempt to blade her.
Oh,
With a
fun.
rather large knife that he
Exciting.
pulls from his belt. He's got to make a melee attack of 1, difficulty 1, and this is an opposed.
Yes.
So you've got to also roll as you're trying to defend yourself here.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, so then 3. Does he? Oh, he does get his focus.
Uh-oh.
He's focusing in knives, and he has a lust for violence. So he is going to. All right. Tell me what you got.
Okay. This is a stretch.
Okay.
I know it technically doesn't, but because of the situation, I'm going to throw it out at you. I have a focus called evasive maneuvers.
Yeah, that's specifically referencing starships.
I know, but I know how to move.
But what is your body but your mind starship if you really
Right? I'm piloting my meat suit.
You definitely know how to move ships.
Damn, that's okay.
Yeah.
Do I have any argument for control here instead of daring as like a
control.
finesse? Like I'm like using more finesse than impulse.
No, unfortunately, combat is daring security.
It's all daring. Okay, cool.
Unless you've got an ability
That's
that lets you do that specifically.
Fine.
Yeah.
I get
let's
stabbed,
see.
guys. I'm really
You
good at getting
do, in
stabbed
fact,
in
get
RPGs.
stabbed, yes.
I
There's-
gotta
What do you
roll.
do
I gotta
that
roll.
for?
I gotta
um,
roll. Hold on.
Let's see. You are going to.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
I wish I had a freaking. God, I wish I had. That
Now-
would have been 2 crits.
Here's some.
Let's
You
just
do
go.
have an option here, though. You do have an option. You can try to avoid an injury by taking stress. So when you because you're about to take an injury, which is going to drop you from the fight.
Yeah.
But when you suffer an injury, you may avoid injury by taking stress instead. Suffer stress equal to the attack's severity and ignore that injury, suggesting that you ducked out of the way at the last moment or you jumped back and you also prevents you from taking that. But all of that is going to get tacked onto your stress.
Okay. I have a thing for that actually.
Do you? Okay, because the damage that you're about to take is not funsies.
Yeah.
Is he
even with my 2 successes?
With your 2 successes, going to take it down, but it's going to be, if I remember correctly, he actually has. Let me look. I think it actually does. It have the it's vicious. So I'm going to spend just to be mean. I'm going to spend a point of threat here, and up it. So it's going to be 5 damage, 5 from the knife.
That's awesome. I'm gonna take stress instead.
Okay, you take the 5 stress, which means you see the knife coming down as you realize that the nerve pinch didn't work incredibly. Noskin summons his will, pulls himself together, and you have enough time because of his screaming to see that he's recovering. And at the last second, you jump back as the knife slashes open just across your midriff, drawing a line of blood, but avoiding a brutal injury. As this Noskin slashes outwards. That's going to be his action for the round. It is now y'all's turn again.
He doesn't have his legendary anymore.
No.
I'd like to take a spin if I could.
Yeah.
Well, we're low on momentum.
We have 1 currently.
But if you do a thing you're good at, we'll have more.
It's true.
You don't have to rally. You could just do a thing you're good at and get net momentum on whatever it is.
In that case, I'd like to burn a determination to use the determination spin special technique to gain the talent mean right hook.
Okay.
Yes.
I love that ability.
And I think Jer's going to walk up, just kind of while this guy's focusing on to be just. Don't touch my crew. It just swing.
Okay. As he slashes, he turns around to see you standing there and go.
Let's see. So this is daring security, which I'm not bad at.
You have martial arts focus.
I would like to take the 1 momentum for an extra die, please.
Please take it.
When you said when you were trying to use evasion, I was thinking of that TikTok song.
Mm-hmm.
I am an alien. My spaceship is human bones and skin.
Brilliant musician.
Okay. That's going to be 4 successes.
Beat him by 1.
Did any of your focuses come in? Or
Yes.
Yes, you're a boxer.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
martial
think
arts.
that's with focus, right?
Oh,
I was
in
asking.
that case, I have 5.
Yeah, I was like, there's. I
You
feel
have
like,
more than 1. Then in that case, you beat him by 2. How much punishment is that?
Let's see what mean right hook does real quick.
It almost doesn't matter because he cannot
Like a right
avoid. He can't really avoid injury.
but mean.
Yeah, it just means that my punch has the intense quality now.
Okay, yeah, no, it doesn't even bother. You're basically going to clock him out. he can't spin to avoid injury anymore because he had to burn all of that in order to get away from being Vulcan neck pinched.
Would have been easier. You should have just gone down.
So let's see. I do believe that is. I haven't done melee combat in like forever. So
you don't even have to roll anything. You've just knocked him out. He's out of his ability to avoid injury. So you basically, in the name of George Foreman, you basically put your knuckles across the head of this George Foreman, Sam, legendary boxer who just passed away yesterday. Was famous for fighting Ali, was famous for being the oldest boxer at his time to ever win the championship in a major comeback in his 40s. Also responsible for the legendary George Foreman grill.
Right, yeah, that contribution I'm familiar with, the engineering.
If you ever heard of the rope-a-dope, that was the technique that Muhammad Ali used to beat George Foreman in the Rumble in the Jungle.
Incredible boxing match, one of the greatest matches of all time. And
I had just forgotten whoever Muhammad Ali fought with.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, totally.
Not exactly the part one pays attention to. Sorry,
the grill guy.
You watch your captain put a right hook across the skull of this Nausicaan, and the impact. You guys have never really seen Jaren throw down, but as the knuckles impact on the side of the Nausicaan's head, you watch him almost do a full spin as the dagger leaves his hand, and he also, with his crew, collapses to the ground.
Just gonna look at you, okay?
This is in chaos.
Fixes her hair. I'll be fine.
Okay, so then that is going to be their action now. But
unless you can keep it for free.
Hold on one sec. Yeah, you guys can spend to keep the initiative if you want.
You can keep it for free.
I get to do it for free with decisive action once per round.
Okay, then mark this as you keep the initiative. The doors open and three Nausicaans have stepped through with disruptors. Zazar has pulled a second disruptor pistol and is about to open fire. And you see Casey is about to finish she's reached the edge of the ramp and is going to run up it when she gets a chance on her action. As all hell is breaking loose, that is where we have to pause for tonight's game.
Let's go.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Y'all dropped 3 of them, including the leader. In this fight, as y'all are it's good to see the crew of the Pride finally throw down. I will say that one of my favorite things about second edition Star Trek Adventures is combat is dramatically sped up once you get past the momentum and threat spins. That's really the only thing that slows it down. It's all about injuries and just trying to avoid injuries. You absolutely knocked that guy into a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
So
put my rotator cuff out.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of The Last Excelsior. We won't be back next Monday night. We'll be back the Monday night after, where we will pick this up as we're wrapping up a big fight and finding out about this Casey person and what's going on. We will see you then. Until then, friends, hailing frequencies are closed.